Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Nerd Soup Podcast. I am Bo Oliver, joined here today with no one because I'm recording this quick message by myself before we get into today's rundown to let you know things are going to be a bit different on today's episode. We recorded a review for the Peacemaker finale, but Warner Brothers is just blocking every attempt we make to publish that review. 5-second clips, 10-second clips, it really doesn't matter. Their algorithm has been out of control lately. So we're just going to put that audio on this episode of the Nerd Soup Podcast, and then we'll get into some regular topics. So like always, you can go to the description, you can look at the time codes, you can skip ahead and listen to the topics that you're interested in, but we're going to start off with a spoiler review of the Peacemaker finale. So if you haven't seen Peacemaker, obviously skip ahead. And if you have seen it, please enjoy this review and then enjoy the other topics we discuss. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Nerd Soup. I am Bo Oliver, joined here today by Aaron, the Nerd Soup Monkey, and we are here to review the finale of Peacemaker Season 1, soon to return for Season 2, but we're talking Season 1 finale, because that's all we've got. I know a lot of people are coming into this show with their own ideas of what they want the DCEU to look like, so there's going to be many opinions on Peacemaker, and, you know, we'll get into overall thoughts on the series when we do our season review. But just for the finale, I thought it was a great finish to a really good show that I have some minor gripes and criticisms of, but overall I thought it was a great exploration into this character that I didn't know I needed after watching the Suicide Squad.
No, I just said, like, Peacemaker has the most depth of any DCEU character, and that's something I would have never expected, especially with the characters they have at their disposal. And we see a lot of that in this finale. I think it was a great cap to probably one of the most fun I've had watching a series in a while.
Most depth in the DCEU. Have you seen Batman v Superman, and did you understand the Martha scene?
Yes and no.
Okay, then. Yeah, I could see why you came to that conclusion, then. Go ahead, continue.
All right, besides Martha has the most depth, you're saying?
No, I would say that Superman has some. Well, you didn't understand the scene. So if you understood the scene, you would understand why Superman has the most depth. That's why they keep bringing him back, right? That's why he was there in the end.
Yeah.
Definitely Henry Cavill.
That'd be hilarious if it actually was.
Yeah, no, they did like Mike Wazowski. Mike Wazowski'd Henry Cavill. It's really him, but they just made it seem like it wasn't, just to fuck with him even more.
Gal Gadot was actually in that scene too, but I heard they cut her line because it was just delivered so bad.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
But
you could bring on the best writer that you've ever had for Peacemaker and James Gunn, but there's only so much you can do with Wonder Woman. I hate to pile on her because I actually like Gal Gadot. I think she gets a lot of shit.
Yeah, but
play the clip.
Yeah.
Hello, I need you to give me enough champagne to fill the Nile.
But yeah, like I said, this was just a blast from start to finish, and I think the finale really kept up with that, and I think it was the perfect way to kind of cap the series off, and we're going to get a season 2, which it's kind of annoying that they did that the day before the finale, so it's like, oh, I guess Peacemaker survives, because if they said it was just a limited series, like you can go into it being like anything can happen, especially with this show, but overall I thought it was just a solid cap off to a great season of television. So much fun, man, and that fucking intro, I'm going to miss that. I hope they bring it back for season 2. You might have to get some new dancers because some characters are not there anymore, but man, that song on my fucking playlist, on rotation, just an absolute jam.
I am offended by the skip intro button. I actually watched it with Andres, and he skipped the intro twice, and I was speechless. I was flabbergasted.
I would have fought him.
I was like, I think you can never be allowed back on the channel. But yeah, the finale, you know, it was explosive, and I think it had the best action of the season. And obviously, the action wasn't the selling point for this show. I think it is watching John Cena just ham it up as his character and proving that he has acting chops.
He's terrific.
You know, you can argue that he is maybe the best wrestler turned actor. The emotional depth to his character, like you mentioned, the most depth of any DCEU character, but the emotional levels he was able to hit surprised me so much. I always knew he could do comedy. He was very good in blockers. He's been funny in other stuff. Obviously, being a star of the WWE means you have to have some comedic chops, but he proved himself as just an overall good actor. And that's my biggest takeaway. And I think, you know, they're going to explore this character further in season 2, but everything that they wrapped up here with his father, obviously that's something that's going to stick around, even though he was able to kill him. That, you know, this moral reckoning that he's having isn't over just yet. He's made some strides, but in the end, even when he has that moment on his porch, there's still some ways to go here. Not everything is fixed within the mind of Chris Smith.
No.
But the way that he was able to, like I said, just tackle all those levels to his character was so impressive. And, you know, like you mentioned, the action here when Peacemaker, Vigilante, and Harcourt go in to take on the Butterflies. That's what they've been building up this whole time. It's an alien invasion. It actually is, even though it's small scale. But that really lends itself to this type of show. Black Ops, low to the ground. The stakes are really high, but it just comes down to 3 badass fighters going off in that moment.
And that was such a great scene when they play the intro song and they're going into the fight. And each, the choreography in the fight, that was one of the better fight scenes, especially for a superhero television show. That was excellent. That was done very well. And
we were waiting for Peacemaker.
Yeah.
Because he's pretty lethal in the movie, but, he's been dealing with so much, this back and forth of, does he want to kill? Can he kill anymore? But when he's going up against aliens, I love that line.
Batman rule.
Yeah, it's a Batman rule. If they're just from another planet, life doesn't matter.
And they gave depth to the aliens, too, so it's
oh, yeah, definitely.
Even at the end when he has to make that decision, I don't know, you don't really feel for them, but you've been around this character in butterfly form and in human form for pretty much the whole season, the Goff character, and even the little cow was kind of cute. And I was like, oh.
I felt bad for the cow.
I felt terrible for the cow.
When everything was falling on the cow.
I'm just being milked my whole life.
Yeah, he's just it was same thing with Starry, right? Just a creature. Just a creature that had to, found themselves in a pickle here.
Yeah. And that was an interesting dilemma at the end. And she they brought up I don't know, it's been tackled before, but doing what it takes, that's kind of what Peacemaker is, or what he said he is. He'll brings peace no matter how many men, women, or children he has to kill to do it. And that's kind of what the Butterflies are doing. They're trying to bring peace. They're seeing the same things that happen to their world, to our world, and they're trying to fix it. And obviously the methods they go about it aren't okay, but that's Peacemaker's mantra, pretty much.
Yeah, shades of Metal Gear Solid 2 there in the ending, that humanity can't take care of itself. We made our mistakes, so now we're here to fix yours. So give in to this authority. But I found
I don't like that. It's no, let us fix it, and we'll die trying. God damn it.
Right, and I guess that's the conclusion Peacemaker came to. But the politics there, I found the commentary to be a little messy.
Yeah, it was still jumbled in, right? Too much at the end, in the last moment, just to bring everything in, rather than slowly kind of portraying that throughout the season. Maybe you could have had the congressman that Goff was initially possessed, or I don't even know what to call it.
It's a possession. Yeah.
Yeah, but
their dead body.
Just a couple of things of that congressman doing great things. Or doing things that better the world under Goff's control, to show what they're actually doing, even though they had to kill to get in that position, but kind of show it little bits throughout the season rather than just have it all regurgitated at the end.
Right, and them trying to manipulate Peacemaker, saying that he's a man of authority. He also took a vow, but obviously he wants, the world, like you said, allow the world to make its own mistakes. And that goes back to the way that he was raised by his father, who was such a bastard throughout this season. It was so satisfying when he did kill him, but still a very emotional moment. And also the moment where he killed Rick Flag, and now that's been haunting him. That's really what breaks his will to kill, is because of those final words delivered to Peacemaker by Rick Flag. And that's, like I said, it's been haunting him throughout this whole season. So that's really what drove him to, I guess, betray Goff in a way, because they developed this sort of quasi-friendship from when she was
friends at the end, it looks like.
Yeah, no, and that's the newfound kind of respect he has for life, where even if he said that he was fine with killing butterflies, but he shows mercy in a way to Goff, knowing that she's going to be a creature he's going to be a creature that dies anyway, because the cow is dead, doesn't have long to live. That's why it was a moment where everything's okay, I guess, for now. I don't know where you bring this character in season 2 after this experience. I guess maybe he'll be a real superhero now, real superhero missions, but still with the R rating. And then you still have Vigilante.
Dude, he is just...
Who's been a standout this season. Not his funniest episode, but once again, things got kind of serious. The stakes are rising. But he was such a great comic relief character throughout the season. What did you think about him?
He's one of my favorite people ever. I love Vigilante. He's just, and I know he's not comic accurate, but I don't care, because I probably would have never known who Vigilante is if it wasn't for the show and his portrayal of it. And just consistently throughout the season. And I don't really think it got old. I feel like it could have got old with him, but even up until the last moment, he was just cracking me up the whole time.
Dude, when he's in the hospital and he says he just needs to nap off the gunshot and then he just collapses, I had to rewind it because I found it to be so funny. He was so delightful. Yeah, and a lot of what he deals with in the comics, the kind of the moral reckoning that he has with being a vigilante, the guilt that he feels, I think they did push that on Peacemaker, and I found it to be appropriate. Listen, writers do this all the time when it comes to comic books. They take an obscure character and they change him, and I think it fit this series. It fit the comedic tone, and obviously I have some problems with some comedic moments, but I'll get into that in the season review. But even a character like Adebayo, I thought was such a great supporting character. Obviously the daughter of Amanda Waller, and in the end she shows that, yeah, she's got a lot of Amanda Waller in her.
Dude, she was fucking going off.
I love that choreography because I love when characters aren't, like, you could tell that they're not the most physically imposing, that they're not going to have the skills of a peacemaker or vigilante, but they find a way to make them cool and lethal. So she's got the 2 gats, and the choreography was so well designed, and she becomes, she becomes brave and a hero in this moment and saves her new friends.
I kind of took that because she was really looked like she was done this before, and I kind of
yeah, she's been to Waller boot camp.
That's what I kind of got some of the characterization I kind of pieced together on my own. I don't know if this is what they were going for, but being Amanda Waller's daughter, probably being trained from a young age to be a killer, and her just not wanting to be like her mother, and that's why she has this, maybe overcompensates sometimes in how trusting and caring she is throughout the season, but deep down she has that Waller in her from probably years of being raised that way.
And I think that's why she and Peacemaker have that natural chemistry, because in a lot of ways they're the same person. They've been raised by a killer who's trying to push them into their ideals and their job and basically walk in the shoes of their parents. So in the end, she becomes a killer and he refuses to kill. So they kind of have to learn the opposite lessons here. But their friendship, I thought, was so delightful. And obviously they have a bit of a falling out because she betrays him. But in the end, he admits that she's his second BFF after Eagly. But she was great, man. She was a great character. Obviously, she betrays her mother in the end. So once again, similar to Peacemaker, he betrays his dad. She betrays her mother.
Yeah.
And it was great to see Viola Davis in those few scenes. You know?
Viola Davis is probably the best actor or top 5 actor right now, and just even get her in that cameo role is pretty shows the pull James Gunn has. And also, getting Jason Momoa and Ezra Miller at the end, I am fucking shocked that they allowed him to do that. And that's when we talk about and I hate to make it a DC versus MCU type narrative, but that's something you will never get in Marvel. And a lot of this shit in the show was nothing you would get in Marvel, and that's why I can't stand people saying oh, they're just more James Gunn is a Splinter Soldier or Splinter Cell or
he's a plant,
a Marvel plant. And dude, they did everything. Nothing it's not Marvel. Marvel would never even do a quarter of the things that they DC allowed James Gunn to do. And it is something different. So when people complain about, oh, Marvel's always the same, and then you want DC to be the same, but finally get something different, and it's awesome and a great time, and it does something that I think is going to benefit DC for the long run. Being able to do shit like this, having R-rated, hard action, hard comedy in their shows, and being able to break that mold of the whatever superhero movies we've gotten in the past.
Yeah, I think James Gunn, his style of humor, where you could see moments and you could say, oh, okay, if you put a PG-13 rating on this scene, this is something you would see in Guardians. But I think the darkness that he's able to portray in these characters, and like you said, the emotional depths of these characters is something that the DCEU hasn't done. People often confuse, dark tones for dark themes.
Did you see the Martha scene?
Yeah, now I'm contradicting myself. I'm a hypocrite here. But, the themes here are dark. Yeah. They're dark and twisted. They're really getting into some stuff. And, obviously everything that he dealt with.
They had a Nazi father pit his 2 sons against each other, and one killed his brother. You're not seeing that in Ant-Man.
That was the Terminator in Terminator 2? Peacemaker's dad?
Yes.
Good movie.
That's cinema.
That guy has just been terrorizing people for the last 30 fucking years, man.
And it's so funny, just how despicable that character is. But every time I see him in the intro doing that dance,
he's hilarious. Yeah, I do laugh. That fucking dance is so good. But you know what was a great visual joke, man? Well, first when they activated the helmet that flew away, and Peacemaker's like, "Did you say activate anti-gravity?" She's like, "No, maybe, I don't know." And when she does the human torpedo, That visual was so funny. She just goes flying right past them, bangs her head, and then Peacemaker uses her as a human bullet to kill the cow.
Yeah.
So nasty. So many trademarks of James Gunn's kind of style of directing. And he keeps telling the same story over and over again. A group of misfits come together in the makeshift family. They learn to respect each other and respect friendship, like Economos and Chris Smith here.
Has daddy issues.
Yeah, the protagonist has daddy issues, something with the parent, right? But like the emotional moment between Economos and Peacemaker here, when it's just him having to admit that he dyes his beard, which is something that is, it was funny throughout the season, but now he's seeing how much this hurt him and how he's obviously been trying to put aside his own problems and dealing with it by bullying other people. So
I feel bad. It's like I never had a girlfriend. Hashtag get a communist, some pussy. And I did like that scene, but I thought it was just brought about a little inorganically with the butterfly like noticing it and confronting him in the dark. Like, I don't know, but it just felt like the way they got to that, it's just a small nitpick, but yeah, like you said, what it actually means for the story, I think, was actually a great moment for both those characters. And even when Hardcore, like, I thought she was dead for a little bit. Like, I thought, like, yeah, this is the character going to kill off. Like, you would expect maybe one to go down during this battle here, and I think that would have been, even though she does survive, I think, like, for that character and the journey she's went through and her relationship to Peacemaker, that would have hit fucking hard.
Yeah, definitely. She's even more cold than he is. Both state-sanctioned killers just turned into blunt weapons. So she was the coldest out of all of them. So if one character was going to go, you would think it would be her. Because characters like that, they always gain their humanity in the very end, and then it's taken from them in such a dramatic way. I thought maybe a butterfly got into her for a moment. I thought maybe Goff, when no one was looking, because, Peacemaker spared her. But yeah, she was awesome. I wonder if she's going to be the character that James Gunn was talking about giving a spin-off series to.
It's got to be Vigilante.
Probably.
Although, like,
I feel like he works better as a supporting character.
Well, like we talked about, like, with Black Widow, how, like, maybe that story would have been better through, like, a miniseries, like, kind of like a hardcore type spy espionage, like, deep undercover, but with still some of that James Gunn flavor to it would be interesting.
Yeah, even an origin series, how she ended up working with Amanda Waller.
Yeah, that would have been actually even more tragic, I think, if the butterfly did get to her at the end. It's always like the person in the zombie movie when they're like, if I die, don't let me become one of them. It's like, that's worse than death.
Oh, yeah. And I thought maybe they were going to do some shit like that, where it's similar to the butterfly that was living inside of Myrn. He was also... he was feeling all the guilt and the past sins of this character. I thought maybe they would take that route with Harcourt. But even the character's song, the transition that she goes through, where she's this detective trying to crack the case and then she becomes the fucking leader. I thought that was an interesting way to use that actor, to use that character, keep her around.
Right. That's the thing with season 2. You're going to have to find a whole like new group of characters, I guess, supporting the ones that were taken over by butterflies. 'Cause I really enjoyed her dynamic with the other detective. Pretty good additions to the show.
Yeah, the back and forth they kept having with Peacemaker's father. That was funny. Yeah, they're back and forth. They were cute together. But now you do have to find, you have to find not new allies, because I imagine they'll all be doing their own separate things and something's going to pull them all together, some new threat. So I would like to see Adebayo in the role that Amanda Waller is usually in, but it's like not fucking Black Ops using prisoners against their wills type of thing. It's like Nick Fury.
Yeah,
right.
Like an actual like morally good Amanda Waller.
Like a legit liaison between heroes that are hired by the government, and those heroes happen to be Peacemaker and Vigilante and Eagly. I was on the edge of my seat the entire season. If they would have killed that fucking eagle, I knew he wasn't going to do it, but still, they kept teasing it.
You can't.
Every moment with that eagle, even when he was flying the helmet, I thought somebody was going to shoot him with like a rifle.
That would be like a James Gunn thing too, to just like fucking have him sniped. But
I thought the dad was going to kill him. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you can't kill Eagly. He's on the no list. It's like he's like killing Baby Groot. Killed older Groot, but then he gave us Baby Groot.
Baby Eagly?
I can get behind that. If he lays an egg, finds out it's a she. Is that how birds work?
No, I want Eagly to reincarnate like a phoenix. That would be some hard ass shit.
Fuck it, yeah. That would be actually pretty dope.
Why not? I feel like it fits the show. Eagly's a secret phoenix. Who gives a fuck?
I mean, he was fighting with a shark in the last movie. So anything is possible. But yeah, when we saw those silhouettes at the end, I was like, all right, they're just going to keep it silhouettes. And then we saw Jason Momoa. And like, I know some people were complaining about like the fish fucking jokes and like all season, but that was so funny. It's like, I fucking hate that rumor. And Barry's like, it's not a rumor. It's like, fuck you, Barry.
Yeah, we got to hear Aquaman curse twice. It's something that you would never see in the DCEU if it wasn't for this show.
Probably, Aquaman made a ton of money. And it's going to make a ton of money for Aquaman, too. Could be your most profitable superhero right now if you're Warner Brothers. And to have that, which is awesome. Like, I think that's, like, do that. Do shit like that. You have it at your disposal. And, like, obviously, everything surrounding Henry Cavill, he's not going to be in it. And with no Cyborg, I don't know if that's due to the personal relationship Ray Fisher has with Warner Brothers, but I don't think they allowed James Gunn to bring him in, and they won't let Batman be in anything that's not a movie about Batman.
Well, Batman ain't showing up to that shit either. I'm pretty sure he probably ghosted Amanda Waller. Just sent her right to voicemail. Don't call me for this shit.
I mean, but you got... I get why you don't
Joker's
put him in...
got 3 nuclear weapons pointed at the city hall.
Don't put him in Gotham. Don't put him in CW. Put him in the end of Peacemaker. Come on.
I don't want to see Batman there. I'm actually on Warner Brothers' side here. It's beneath Batman. For what reason? I don't know, but it is.
Go fuck a bat.
Yeah. Oh, God. Come on.
That's what he said. Peacemaker fucking hates Aquaman.
See, but that's the thing. I feel like Batman's a presence where, you can curse out Aquaman, but if Batman showed up, I want Peacemaker to show him a little respect. Or else I want Batman to make him talk.
It's like, I heard what you said about me.
Yeah, put him in a fucking pretzel.
Sorry, Mr. Bat. And they mentioned Green Arrow, which is nice. Because Green Arrow, he got his own show on CW. But other than that, like...
In my headcanon,
one of the coolest characters, and they never give him any shine in any of the movies. No, not even like a rumor that he's ever going to show up. And they mentioned him. Give him a nice little shout out.
Yeah, in my headcanon, he's always been Matthew McConaughey in the DCEU, because I always would have liked to have seen that. I think he would have been a good older version of the Green Arrow character, because they aged up Batman. So I thought that would have been cool. But yeah, mention of Green Arrow, and Peacemaker. Who knows? Maybe in a few years he's sitting at that sort of table because of how well this series does for him.
I mean, if he blows up and becomes a big character, I
think he's on his way, man. John Cena, we talked about it obviously on this review of his showing off his acting chops. He's got this quality, and people have pointed this out before, of he's like a boy trapped in a grown man's body. And that's kind of the boyish charm that he has, and why he's so likable, and why fans, like to watch him act this way, because it's just he looks like he's having the time of his life.
I tell you what, next time we're at Comic-Con, and because I remember seeing the Peacemaker comics, I'm like, oh, we should buy that, and maybe if Peacemaker blows up, it can go up in value, and nah, whatever.
I did buy one.
You did buy the Peacemaker?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, fuck. You're about to be banking.
Just kidding.
Oh. Well...
In my headcanon, I bought it.
That's good.
All right, guys. Thank you for listening to this review of the Peacemaker finale. Let us know what you thought about the finale in the comment section below, and be on the lookout for our Season 1 review dropping sometime next week. Henry Cavill's actually going to be on that one. He wasn't in the show, but he's going to be on the review. And Ben Affleck.
Wow.
And J-Lo.
And yes, James Gunn, I do want to taste it. Nah.
So what'd you guys think of the Super Bowl? Fun Super Bowl?
Kind of boring, to be honest with you.
Yeah, wasn't my favorite.
Wow, a disappointing, boring Super Bowl.
Who would have thought,
Who could have predicted that?
I feel like that always happens, except for that. The last great one was that Patriots-Eagles one. Sorry, Ted.
No, Patriots, Falcons. When they came back and won.
Oh, yeah, that was a great Super Bowl.
That was a great Super Bowl. It's
yeah,
the greatest comeback
of all time.
Yeah, but...
I think that's where Brady
Eagles
started to grow
won.
on me. I wasn't rooting for the Eagles, obviously. I'm a Giants fan. I wanted Eli to be the only one to have beaten the Patriots dynasty.
Well, now he joins in with Nick Foles.
Now it's appropriate. If it was going to be anybody, I'm glad it was Nick Foles and not somebody good.
Well, when you look at it through the lens of the Super Bowl, if that's just a Sunday night game, Week 8, it's pretty good game.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's Super Bowl, you expect more. But all you want it to be is close at the end, and it was. I think it was very anticlimactic though, that last drive with the Rams, and there were the flags, and they were on the one, and it's all right, they're gonna fucking score here.
You kind of knew it was gonna happen.
But
they didn't throw flags all game. You knew it was coming out.
Are you saying that the outcome was predetermined?
No, I hate people that say that, but
those memes are funny, the script writers.
Yeah, but having Burrow with the ball at the end of the game, that's what more can you ask for, right? Of a chance to win.
I would have loved Burrow to tie the game and the Rams to win. That would have been nice.
I had -4.5, so I kind of needed that to happen. So that's what I was rooting for.
I won on Odell first touchdown
Me too.
and T. Higgins scoring. And I took Rams in game when they were down 6.
I had a T. Higgins and Odell both to score first for their team parlay.
Oof.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
So you're telling me that the game ended with the best player on the field having a chance to make 2 plays to not only end the Super Bowl and end his career? Wow. Very convenient.
For what? The NFL?
Yeah, for the NFL. Like Aaron said, it doesn't matter how you start. Just
Are you
want
one
it
of
to
them?
be close in the end. One of who?
The
Do I think sports are fixed?
Yeah.
Professional sports?
No, because the only
No.
argument for whether or not fixed is
No.
if they were, you would take the biggest market, which is New York, and make your teams good, and they all fucking suck.
Well, you can't fix it. You got to work with what you
I
got.
know, right?
You gotta-
You
I
can't
think
make it
Adam
too obvious.
Silver or David Stern have been like, let's have the Knicks
And
win
for the
at least
7th year in a row.
once. Just give them one
New
for
York.
the biggest market in basketball.
New
Well,
York versus LA.
The best way they fix for NBA is through the draft, and the Knicks always trade their picks.
Yeah,
They need to make like the.
It's like, look, we're trying.
They gotta tell the Knicks you cannot trade this pick away.
Knicks, please just keep your fucking picks.
We can't guarantee Curry will be there at 9, but if you just trade up, like,
Right,
it'll
yeah.
cost you a second. Nah, we're good.
Like, no, we're the Knicks.
Uh,
He's gonna fall to us. We're the
If they're
Knicks.
if the NBA is gonna fix the championship this year, can they make the Jazz win? Because they're in my championship parlay.
yeah, that's good for business.
That ain't happening.
The halftime show, though, when I
Gonna fix it for the Utah
think
Jazz.
the most excited I got that whole game was when 50 came down.
That was awesome,
Dude,
was
that guy
so-
got shredded online.
It was very mean. I didn't like it.
Me neither. He didn't look that big. I mean, he
thought
was
they were
big.
solid memes. I mean, there were 2 types of people in the world, right? That's what they always say. We got a new one. It was people who knew why he was hanging upside down, and
Yeah.
people who
Yeah,
didn't.
exactly.
So I think for everyone of our generation,
Nash was one of them.
know,
Did you know? Would you guys have pegged
No.
Nash to not know?
No.
Yeah, halfway through the
Dude, that's
third
like-
quarter, Nash is like, "Wait a minute, so 50 was upside down because of his music video?"
You got to know right
Third
away.
quarter.
I went on Twitter right to like tweet, and you beat me to it by like 30 seconds.
Just a tweet,
Just
50.
50
Yeah.
exclamation. I was ready to go. That I'm like, oh fuck.
That was a great moment. I mean, even when Dr. Dre came up, and when I put it together, they were going to do like Dre's house party. Mm-hmm. So this is already legendary.
Yeah.
Snoop Dogg crip walking on the roof.
Dude, I love Snoop Dogg,
Me
man.
too.
He's just having the time of his life for the past 30 years.
Yeah, I always love the memes about Snoop Dogg just doing side challenges.
So is Shaq.
Well, Snoop Dogg, it's funny. Well, he had more hits, obviously, after Doggy Style, but he and 50 Cent are coasting.
He's been living
on
off
those
being
early-
Snoop Dogg for a while.
Yeah, and 50's been living off of fucking Get Rich or Die Trying for a long time. Even though the Massacre
Yeah, I
was
was gonna
good.
say, Massacre was
Massacre
pretty
was
good.
good. He had some hits there.
He had a good run with G-Unit too.
Some of his best work is with the game, but like, yeah. It kind of sucked. I wish, like I said, like on Twitter, like I wish it was an hour longer because
Yeah.
you just got like a little taste. So you have Eminem and Kendrick and 50 for one song.
Kendrick needed more. I didn't like what Kendrick put
Well, I
out.
thought they gave him bad choices.
Yeah.
I wanted to see him perform Humble. You know, something that could rock a stadium. And they gave him All Right, which is not one of his biggest hits, but one of his more iconic songs because of what the song became. Somebody was saying maybe it should have been Ice Cube instead of Kendrick. Like, you know, a little NWA
Yeah,
flavor, right?
yeah.
But it's funny, that morning I was talking to my mom. I was like, they're all Dr. Dre proteges. It's funny that they didn't include 50 in this. They just kind of left him out. And then
Yeah.
there he is
He
fucking hanging
drops
from
from
the
the
roof.
ceiling.
Yeah.
That would have been funny because everyone's like,
He
or
drops
they're
from
saying
the
like the
roof.
NFL has like made Dre
falls on his neck,
Dre
yeah.
change like his line when he said like still not loving police. Yeah, get Ice Cube out there. Fuck the police.
Yeah, so you're going to do It Was a Good Day, right, Q? Yeah, trust me. But people were disappointed that
What's,
M didn't get 2 songs or
I
3
was.
songs. I like the way they used him as sort of like the anchor. I think it was respectful to M. Obviously, Snoop and Dre still close it, but they give M his biggest song ever at the Super Bowl. I think the idea of that we got to watch Eminem perform that, Dr. Dre and Snoop do Still Dre at the Super Bowl. There are moments that, you know, you
California
never,
Love was nice.
yeah, for a long time, you know, they were reluctant to allow hip hop acts to perform at the Super Bowl. So I thought it was great.
Yeah, it's one of
Especially
like the
for our
better ones.
generation.
I mean, nothing beats Prince. That's just
Yeah.
JT killed
like
it
this
too.
man. I'm convinced Prince made it rain.
That is such a Teddy thing to.
JT
Aaron
killed it,
brings up
man.
Prince, and you go straight to, at least go to Michael Jackson.
That was one of the. I got into like a little wormhole of watching halftime performances. I think MJ is one of the best ones ever.
You're not
Never
beating
do it.
Shakira and J-Lo for me.
Really?
That's just me
Man.
personally.
Like, yeah, I mean, I can see the appeal there, but
What?
They need to run that back every other year.
My brother Lewis said the same thing.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Nerd Soup Podcast. I am Bo Oliver, joined here today with Aaron, the Nerd Soup Monkey, and Teddy. And we are back to talk about the world of Hollywood. We've got a lot of news. We've got movie stuff, TV stuff, a lot of announcements, some trailers that dropped during the Super Bowl. And yeah, it's going to be a contentious podcast, maybe, possibly. We'll see. Listen to this podcast on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Buzzsprout, all the places for podcasts, all those hosts, all those homes, and of course follow us on social media at Nerd Soup, Bo Soup, Nerd Soup Monkey, Teddy Nerd Soup, Anthony JQ Nash, I'll just give it to him because he keeps begging for it, and Girl NS Purple Marissa at MySpace.
Him fucking it up 2 in a row is fucking hilarious.
And also we've got Linktree, don't forget about
He
that.
fucked up Marissa's?
At first he said purple girls.
Yeah, that was a pod he did with you two.
Mm-hmm. I forgot what he said last week, but it was funny.
It was like Girl Nerd Soup.
Yeah.
He said it so confidently, though. Like, yeah, I understood I messed up last time, but I've got it now.
Here it is again.
Why do you think contentious? We haven't really talked about anything that we're talking about now.
Because you hate the Lord of the Rings trailer.
And you love it.
No.
Okay, so like...
I thought I was watching because I watched a couple reactions and the people didn't like it, so I thought maybe I like fell into like the not liking wormhole on YouTube, but it feels like that's like the content.
Have you seen the comment section on
consensus.
Amazon? Like from the trailer
On YouTube?
on YouTube, yeah.
No. Bad? Racist?
No, it's every first I can't even find a normal comment. It's all copy and paste, but it's like Russian, I think. And when you translate to English, it says, "Evil cannot create anything new. It can only spoil and destroy what good forces have invented or created."
That's what J.R.R.
Tolkien.
Yeah.
That's every fucking, look. No one's like, "Ooh, cool trailer, can't wait to see."
Oh, so it's one of those.
Bad trailer. It's just copy and paste, like on everything.
It's one of those spam things.
It's I don't know what's going on, but 20 million views, so get that ad revenue, Amazon. You need it.
Does this, yeah, that's weird.
So I guess people aren't loving it.
I guess Russia. They should be focused on other things, maybe.
To be fair, I don't know what, if I hear Russian, I know it, but if I see it written out, I'm like, I don't know what that is. It just looks like it could be Russian.
Put that on Google. Google will know.
Yeah, next thing you know, Putin has access to my iCloud.
They already sold you out a long time ago. Putin's got his little sausage fingers in all of our stuff.
Nerd Soup stuff or U.S.?
Yeah, no, just the U.S. soup.
Oh, all right.
Well,
Yeah, no, the Rings of Power trailer, though.
yeah. Look, obviously it's just a trailer, and it was very short, and who knows if it's finished and all the CG and whatnot. I hate to make I'm still excited. I hate to be like, this trailer, I didn't like it, so I'm gonna hate this series when it comes out. But considering what we got and all the hype surrounding it and everything leading up to it, the Super Bowl ad, watching it in that moment, I was very disappointed. It just didn't feel like it didn't.
Oh boy, we're getting to that territory, huh?
But it doesn't
Didn't feel like the
Star
Shire.
Wars.
Yeah.
No, but then a few people on Twitter made this point as well. It reminded them more of The Hobbit than it did that original trilogy, which isn't a good
Definitely.
thing. And I think some of the shots, rewatching it again after, because all the ruckus going around in the Super Bowl, I waited the next day, watched it again, and really focused on it. And there were some beautiful fucking shots, especially the opening too. But when it got into for an example, the scene on the mountain, it kind of looked video game-ish.
Yeah, when she was climbing.
Yeah.
Ice climbing. It
That
looked like it
shot
was
didn't
fake.
look great.
And it's okay, I don't mind CG. Some of my favorite movies have rely heavily on CGI. Doctor Strange, a movie we're going to talk about, relies heavily on CGI, and that trailer looked great. But it's just the way they use it. It looked very video gamey, almost saturated at times. And I get the original trilogy, the aesthetic appeal was that it was very colorful. Definitely when you compare it to some other fantasy epics and things of that nature. But it had this certain, I don't want to say dullness, but it wasn't super in your face.
No, there was a
bright.
natural quality
Yeah.
to it. It almost felt like it was all shot with natural lighting.
It looked
Obviously, it wasn't.
It looks like a Wheel of Time, just how saturated that was.
You're saying this does?
In terms of
No,
visual.
this visually looked more like Wheel
Just
of Time.
super bright. Yeah, that's what I mean.
yeah, definitely. And I think, people have made the argument that they work on the special effects, the visual effects for these shows up until they're released.
Right.
My initial reaction was I wasn't blown away, but I appreciated the widescreen aspect ratio. I wonder if they're going to release it in theaters, a limited release, because it looks like it was shot for the big screen. But yeah, some of the shots, don't look as good as some of the others. I thought there were some moments that were breathtaking when you, like you said, when you give it a rewatch and you analyze it frame by frame, looking for stuff. I also want to apologize for the way I butchered Cate Blanchett's character's name on the last podcast. I should be banished. I should have been suspended for 2 weeks.
Was it that bad?
Yeah, no, horrible, horrific.
What'd you say?
I know it's Galandriel now, but I was like, Galadrew? I called her Uncle Drew, essentially.
Gabrielle?
Well, I never bothered to learn the Lord of the Rings characters' names. I just call them by their actual actors, except for Samwise Gamgee, because I can never remember Sean Astin's name. So
Sean
he's just,
Astin.
Yeah. No, I remembered it now. But when I see him in Stranger Things, I'm like, oh, it's Samwise. I have to still hit him. But Elijah Wood is just Elijah Wood, even though it's an easy name to remember. But,
Call him Rudy.
Game of Thrones Season 8 came out with one of the best trailers I've ever seen. And we all know how that went.
Yeah.
So if it's going to be a 9-episode, $500 million epic, we obviously have to wait. And I think everybody knows that. You have to wait and don't rush to judgment.
Well, it's like...
I feel like the jury's out early
but
now.
Once again, there's
sucks.
only one chance at making a first impression. And by no way did this...
Well, that's the thing.
Some fans were probably blown away, but I wasn't.
That's the thing. For like the Super Bowl, like you getting the first look at the series, the most money, like, and I'm sure like not everyone watching was like, oh yeah, this is the highest budget television show of all time. I think it was just like show some quick flashes of some of the bigger moments to like capture people who maybe aren't interested or like really didn't even know anything about it going in. And I want to say that's kind of a mistake. And obviously, from the little footage we got, that's not going to be indicative of the series as a whole. Like, I'm not gonna, and even like if let's just say everything kind of has that look to it, that still doesn't really tell you much about the story and the writing. So there's so many different elements that go into making a show, and like all those things can work out very well. And at the end of the day, we can be like, oh yeah, remember we complained about that like one shot on the mountain kind of looked trash, but that's what you're presenting as your first look, and if that's what we're gonna go off of, so far I'm not like blown away.
I'm surprised they didn't like give us anything about the story. Like, we have no idea what the story's going to be about at all.
Yeah, they're selling it based on the namesake of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, and what the look is, and
they're living on legacy here.
For a guy that doesn't, and I feel like they ran into the problem like you can't avoid announcing the budget, but knowing the budget definitely sucks.
Bill type.
Yeah. And then,
but I think you definitely
Doctor
see
Strange
it
looks so much better than
because
this one.
you made the point that it's going to be 3 movies in one season, right?
Yeah.
So if you took 3 movies and you made a trailer and compiled a trailer, that's a lot of movies look like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you split up, like you said, 180, 180, 180. If you want to do it that way, I don't know if that math is accurate. It looks like a Hollywood standard movie. So like I said, they're still working on it. I think what sucks about this first trailer being underwhelming is that it gives ammunition to all the fucking whiny babies. Go woke, go broke.
Yeah.
Go woke, go broke. This is what happens. Now there's an elf who's a person of color.
With no beard. That was a big debate online I was looking at.
Yeah. And they're like, oh,
she had no beard.
Yeah,
the dwarf?
The dwarf didn't have a beard. And
I mean...
But in The Witcher they had one.
But
that's dwarves have beards.
It's like, are you on that train?
I didn't think it would be funny.
But the go woke, go broke crowd, they're just so insufferable. And these are always the same people who, I don't see color. Why does everything have to be about race? And then John Boyega's cast as a stormtrooper, and it's Armageddon. It's the same thing with this. Well, why do they have to race swap these legendary characters? You don't know dick about this story. And if you do, calm yourself. You're supposed to be a nerd. Nerds are supposed to be accepting of all different types of people. Don't be one of these fucking gatekeeping sickos.
Or if you are into it, just wait till it comes out and then make your fucking judgment on it.
Well, that's the thing. Like, even
you can have an idea, you can have an opinion,
even
but
not being
don't
that word
pass judgment on it.
That word is literally just becoming something people say to complain about women or people of color.
What, woke?
Yeah.
Oh.
That they went woke.
Yeah.
Well, it's something where it's like, all right, like
I feel like they think that they've seen it before, like with Star Wars, like they can just pass.
Yeah, that's the thing. Just because you are opening the doors for diversity, it doesn't mean that the movies are. What you think movies now are going to become more consistently good? It's just still the same people making the same movies.
Exactly.
Movies are half and half. They're usually shit, or sometimes
movies sucked in the 80s too.
Yeah, they always suck. It's not. That's the whole argument with diversity.
Most
it's
movies
not about,
suck.
rewarding
needle in a
people for
haystack
their
for a movie.
abilities.
It
It's
is.
about giving everybody the equal opportunity to be mediocre. That's what diversity is. Because at the end of the day, we're all morons.
A script is a script, man. So whether it was a white guy doing it or a black guy doing it, it's gonna suck regardless.
Great point. Yeah. At the end of the day, it's still going to come down to the writing. It could be fucking
Yeah.
anybody playing these characters.
Let's
If the
think,
script is bad, it's going to be bad.
It just gives, I think, like, me not liking this trailer or not liking that aspect of it, like, I'm still
Yeah. Now you get grouped in with those type of people.
not even
Well,
that.
yeah.
it's-
We have to start looking at you funny.
No, yeah, that's actually
You're actually headed to Detroit, right? Canadian border.
uh,
Resupplying.
it's something where it's like, for me, and I think for a lot of people who even didn't like the trailer, and most people are like still willing to give it a shot and give it a benefit of the doubt. But it's just like the people who hate it for certain reasons are going to use that as ammunition and be like, look, told you, this fucking thing sucks. When it's like, in reality, we got 90 seconds, and like, sure, it wasn't anything breathtaking or groundbreaking, but we'll gotta wait and see. We're still, what, 6 months away from this?
7, yeah, 6 months. And we're definitely going to get some more looks as we get closer to that release date. But, I guess we'll have to just calculate how many views it got and compare it to other shows that are coming out to see, what this actually did for the hype of the show. It would be a mistake for them to just solely rely on this is the Lord of the Rings sequel, because audiences have shown we can like something in one era and then something else comes along. It's not 2001 anymore. We have the MCU. We've got some Star Wars stuff coming out. We've got DC stuff. There are other wells that fans can draw from. So okay, it's 500 million. We got this first look. Now maybe, like
Next
Ted
trailer,
said,
cut us something.
Yeah, let's get into some narrative
Yeah.
here. Nothing
Let me hear
crazy.
some voices. Let me hear some acting.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. Well said. You want to bring us to the next topic?
Yeah, it was the Doctor Strange trailer, right?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, Ted.
What'd you guys think? We got the first look at Doctor Strange.
Well, I thought
into
this was
multiverse.
a way better trailer than
It
the
looks
last
so much
one.
better.
Yeah.
I think it's like,
It looked. It was definitely an upgrade.
But what is it?
I think
how
you
does-
see more of Raimi's style here too.
Wait, but tell me how this movie's
I have a couple
budget.
of things about that, but we'll get to that
Tell me
later.
how this movie's CGI looks so much better than The Lord of the Rings. You think it is just what they chose out of the movie or out of the show?
It's
I also think it's
This looks significantly better than Lord of the Rings.
the things
CGI.
that they're trying to create with CGI and Doctor Strange. I think are more easily
more in like,
designed. Whereas
Right. You see
a
a mountain-
cave troll.
yeah, I guess.
well, it's like too. It's like if you see a mountaintop, I'm like climbing a mountain. I'm like, okay, I kind of understand what that looks like. I don't know what anything is supposed to look like in
Yeah,
Doctor
true.
Strange. So in my brain, I'm not like, oh, that doesn't look real, because none of it's fucking real.
Yeah.
I like how my main takeaway from this, a trailer where we got Marvel Zombies confirmed and
Yeah, what was that? No, Doctor Strange, right? As a
and
zombie?
Patrick Stewart confirmed. My main takeaway was like, Wanda, we're getting her back. That was my big takeaway from
definitely.
this. That's how much real estate she has in my brain.
So
but-
my brother told me that that's the Illuminati that he's going to see. And like, so my understanding of the Illuminati is that it's a bunch
it's
of
definitely
characters.
real and controls everything
It's,
in our world.
it's a bunch of characters from other universes that are pretty much on like a panel.
Yeah, I thought the
So it can be
Illuminati
anybody?
was also just something that did exist in not even in a multiversal way, but just the Illuminati exists within the Marvel universe. And the Black Panther, Iron Man,
Okay.
Mr. Fantastic, characters like that, Professor X. But if it is like I'm sure that does go back to the comics too, because Vinny knows way more than I do. And if it is, yeah, I think that's awesome. The theories have been going crazy for this.
I've been trying like
because, well, did you see that one panel where it looks like they're in an animated universe?
Yeah.
So they're saying that the Professor X that they showed the shoulder isn't from the live action movies, but that he's from the 1997 X-Men cartoon. And that's the X-Men canon that they're trying to bring in to the MCU.
That's sick.
there's just so much like I couldn't really like go like
Because apparently, sorry to cut you off,
Yeah,
he
no.
disappears at the end of that animated show and nobody knows where he went.
Really?
it's crazy.
So now I got to go back
Yeah.
and watch that fucking
Yeah,
animated show.
That's on Hulu too.
I've never seen that. Is
no,
it?
no, it's on Disney Plus. Not Hulu.
Okay. And I know they're doing a reboot. They're putting it back in the 90s and continuing that story.
It's like I just watched a trailer and I'm like, okay, I like this. I didn't like look at any screenshots or people breaking it down because I feel like there's just so much. Like
There is.
I saw a
Every
couple
scene,
things
dude.
of like Deadpool and shit like that. I'm like, this is too much.
Well,
I need
you
to
guys
just
saw the Iron Man trending on Twitter?
yeah, I saw that. It's
well,
like
I saw one still from this trailer that it looked like he was in from Loki, where Kane conquers, like where he like resided. It looked like he was walking through that, like he was in that area.
The like the castle, the end of time.
Yeah, it was like he who last remains, or whatever the fuck his name was.
Yeah.
Right, it was like his area. Like that's where it looked like he was walking through there. I don't know. There's so much in this.
We talked
trailer.
about this on the podcast. That Tom Hiddleston was going to appear in this movie as Loki. So there's a lot to tie in here. I know the cut that they have now, the last report was that it's at 3 hours. They're probably going to trim that down, but
it
still
needs to be long. Because that's another thing I was thinking. Like, even from a trailer, just to get introduced to that much, and to be like, how's this going to play out over like a 2.5 hour feature? I'm like, there's not like,
well, for them to give us Patrick Stewart means something crazy.
Yeah, this is going to be the like.
That's not even the tip of the iceberg, you know? Or no, that is the tip of the iceberg.
Even talking about like not Multiverse of Madness, No Way Home. Like, obviously that was crazy, but like, I think I expected it to be crazier than it actually was. I was very happy with what we got.
I think we all did, yeah.
But like,
part of us all did.
Because even going into it, I'm like, well, what if we get Spider-Gwen, or what if we get this, or what if we get that?
Because there was so much more that could have happened.
And we ended up just getting what we expected, which I didn't hate at all.
No, we ended up getting what we were told we were getting.
Yeah.
We didn't get more.
And I feel like this is just going to, like, all the craziness is just going to happen in this one.
Yeah, and I have this feeling going into it where now I'm starting to think it's going to get crazier than what they're giving us. But my expectations, I don't know where to place them. Like you said, with Spider-Man, it was easy to say, what if we get Gwen? What if we get Venom? Because those characters have some history. And obviously, there's some characters being speculated about appearing in this movie that have history in live-action movies as well. I mean, at this point,
you can get anything in this movie.
I don't want to see anything else from it. I just want to stay as far away from this until it comes out.
Well, there are a lot of rumors going out there for months, for years, that are even being tied into this movie. So I would just say skip ahead to the next topic if you don't want to hear this. But the rumor that went around for a long time about Chris Evans having a major supporting role in an upcoming Marvel movie, it's got to be this one.
Yeah, Human Torch.
He's got to be Human Torch. Being a dick, being his cocky self.
You saw him flying through. You saw the flame.
Well, a lot of people are saying that
Captain
could
Marvel
be
too. I saw
it could be John Boyega as Nova, because there's rumors that Boyega's playing Nova. Monica Rambeau, people have suggested
as Captain Marvel, though.
Yeah,
in an alternate, like,
right? Or Tom Cruise Iron Man.
Yeah, that's where like I kind of was just like, okay,
it was a flaming. It was a torch though. It looked like Human Torch.
Because we get Rambeau as Captain Marvel. Like, I don't even know if like that's like
that might be him.
Fucking awesome, and I'm like.
Well, it's going to be the
if it's Brie
Illuminati
Larson's Captain Marvel, like, I don't know. It's too much.
Was the Fantastic Four confirmed?
That's happening. No, that's happening. What's his face is doing it? Peyton Reed.
So can they be in?
Or no, John Watts.
Some people are saying Reed Richards might be in this.
Yeah.
As someone who said
that original Reed Richards is going to be in it. I forget the actor's name. Tom Cruise Iron Man, Patrick Stewart 1990s X-Men animated cartoon, and I think we'll get an alternate version of T'Challa. And I think maybe that's how something will happen with Black Panther 2, where it's a recast.
You do Michael
B. Jordan as an alternate
T'Challa.
Well, dude, I still love the idea of Yahya Abdul-Mateen taking on the role. I think he would be so good. Obviously, he's in DC, but you can double dip these days.
Yeah.
They're double dipping in Marvel.
There's like, I don't know, there's just so much going on with this, and like, I can't keep up, and it's just...
Make John Boyega Black Panther.
I wouldn't hate that.
You could do so many different things. Like you said, like, that was a big thing after the passing of Chadwick Boseman, is trying to honor him as that character, but you know that, like, financially, they're trying to think of every loophole they can.
I think that a recast really...
It won't tarnish him.
I don't think it does.
I think...
I think if you pick the wrong character and he sucks, maybe.
Yeah, being this far removed from it, I feel like people might warm up to that idea now.
But I don't think, even if you, obviously this is not possible, but I think if Chadwick Boseman had a choice, he would say you continue on with the character, because it's bigger than just one guy. As much as he meant to so many people, you carry on that legacy, and then as you enrich the character with even more lore on the big screen, everyone's always going to look back as Boseman as the starting point, as the OG.
It was more of what Black Panther did for the black community, and you can still portray that with a new character.
Yeah, I think that character still means so much to so many people that you got to continue it.
But even just looking at it from a pure entertainment level, like, whoever the next big bad is, if it's Galactus, if it's like... if it is Kang and the big ultimate like showdown, the end game for this phase, like, don't you want Black Panther to be there fighting with everybody? Like,
yeah, and I think the plan was to put Chadwick Boseman front and center. Obviously, after the departure of Robert Downey Jr. with Iron Man being killed in Endgame, and then Chris Evans being, aged up.
And they'll be back too.
Yeah, and who knows how much they've switched around behind the scenes, because Loki was supposed to come out and then after Doctor Strange. It was supposed to go WandaVision, right into Doctor Strange, then into Loki. So obviously Loki opened up the multiverse first. We're going to see those repercussions on the big screen eventually. Do you think Kang's in this movie? I think he appears maybe in the end.
Like everybody's in this movie at this point.
Well, he has to show up in the end, I guess, because he's the big bad now, isn't he?
Maybe not. Who knows?
We have what's his face, Mordo, coming back, so they got to fit in his evil plot. So what's his deal?
Or an evil Doctor Strange.
Mordo's got to be fucking pissed. It's like,
I guess he's a big bad for this one.
Like if Doctor Strange and the crew were like, what? He was upset because he used time travel, right?
Yeah.
And now he opened up the multiverse. So at a certain point, Doc, you got to look in the mirror and be like, maybe I'm the problem.
I mean, that's what what's his face was saying to him. He's like, he can't. What the hell's his name?
Wong.
Wong, yeah.
Wong just. I'm convinced he just doesn't like Stephen Strange at this point. He really just.
He is screwing him over every movie. I'd hate him too. He's just causing all the paperwork for Wong.
Yeah. What has he done? That I guess he made the plan to defeat Thanos in a way.
Who? Strange?
Yeah. He gave up the stone, saw the one outcome.
Yeah, but he saw the future though. It's not like he. I guess it's on him. All right.
Yeah, he's like, I put this plan together and focus on every detail.
He still has the coolest fight in the MCU versus Thanos. So
he does.
He does.
Taking that. How about like DC's counter to this? It's just like old ass Michael Keaton in that same suit he wore in the 80s.
Oh yeah, well we didn't even talk about we didn't put that on the outline, the Black Adam trailer.
Yeah.
Or was it a trailer? It was just a TV spot, right?
Yeah. They had like a spot of everything coming up DC, which was pretty cool. Like,
oh yeah, I guess we'll talk about that for a little. Yeah.
I think like with it seems like DC's literally like just taking the route of just not focusing on this shared universe anymore and kind of just doing their own thing, which I think is great.
Better for them.
Because I think the Batman potentially, or just like the DC fan, I mean, just gonna be the best thing out of anything that we've talked about, like including Doctor Strange, and the best superhero movie of the year. I'm hoping like top, like considered like all-time great movie, and that's like my expectation for it. But even with the Joker, I know a lot of people like to make fun of it and whatever. Like I think it was still a really good movie, and like got nominated for an Oscar. So like they're getting this own path for themselves, and I think as long as they keep focusing on the characters at hand and making good movies for themselves rather than trying to connect everything and being like Marvel, I think that's only a good thing. That being said, I feel like The Flash I'm not excited for as much as I should be.
Yeah, I think they're overestimating how excited people are to see the return of Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton is iconic in that role, but 1989 is a long time ago for the people that you're trying to get into theaters to watch these new movies. I'm going to be very excited for that. I just rewatched the original Batman.
I didn't think of that. Trying to reach a new audience, that's not going to help.
No, for that I'm excited. Like that's like basically the only thing. And I guess
when you say it's the counter, it's not the counter they think it is.
No,
I don't think it's like that's kind of just me being like a.
No, I think you're right. This is 100% their counter. Or it's not a counter. It's coincidental that they're coming out around the same time. Always happens with comic books, and now it's happening with the movies.
Well, it's like you're saying...
But it is similar, and it's nowhere near the hype.
Yeah, exactly. You're saying Marvel's coming out with this huge blockbuster, and DC's like, all right, let's give him Keaton.
Keaton in the Batgirl movie, and The Flash.
That'll get him back.
They need to realize, like, it's sort of like the Yankees. The dynasty's over. You're not the guys anymore. This other new team, the Man City, I don't know why I'm crossing over sports. They got new owners, Disney. They pumped all that oil money into the MCU, and now they're the guys. So the general audience are more excited for America Chavez than they are Michael Keaton's Batman.
The Yankees are always like one big off season from showing them who's boss.
Yeah, for the last 20 years. Or since 2009, I guess.
All DC, you like trade for Ohtani, you sign Freddie Freeman, and you're back on top.
Well, that look at Black Adam, that's a movie I'm continuing to, my hype is continuing to grow, because I think The Rock, that's going to be a role that really suits him, similar to, I think, John Cena in Peacemaker. I think that the type of character that is, where he can be the anti-hero, he can be tough and intimidating, but still have a good side to him. That's perfect for The Rock.
Well, it's another example of DC, like, kind of doing something different and being separate, Peacemaker's fucking awesome.
Yes, it is.
That
I'm
show is
having more fun
stupid
with
good.
Peacemaker than, I don't know, that I did with What If and Loki, Falcon and Winter Soldier. I think it's better, like, except for WandaVision, I think it's like one of the better superhero TV shows in the past year and a half.
I have the solution, guys. You sign James Gunn to like $400 million, and you have him produce everything.
Well, we should
and write
just go on
everything.
to that. That's another last-minute story that the Peacemaker has been renewed for season 2. Apparently, the big wigs over at Warner Brothers want James Gunn to return, and he's going to write and direct every single episode of season 2.
It's a good choice.
Yeah, in season 1, obviously, there were other people who directed, and I think there were also some other writers, but he was heavily involved. It's got his style written all over it. I mean, the guy makes the same story every single time, and
But it's always good.
It's
never
always
like,
good.
It's never like.
And I think he's kind of found his style here. It's become very distinct. John Cena, I'll say this with confidence, best wrestler actor ever. I think he's passed The Rock and Bautista just from this show. Because I've never seen them hit the emotional levels that Cena hits in Peacemaker.
Yeah.
No.
That's true. I mean, like,
his ability to go from dramatic to comedy, it's like a revelation.
yeah. And, like, I think we're past the point where, like, I remember in the beginning you saw from a lot of fans, it's like, oh, this isn't DC. And I found that ridiculous. Like,
yeah, they don't read DC comics.
especially in an era when you're like...
They just read Frank Miller Batman.
Yeah. And especially, like, when the main point from DC fans, well, not, like, from a certain section of DC fans is like, oh, Marvel's cookie cutter always the same, and then you bring in James Gunn and completely do something different from whatever has been going on in the DC prior, and then you complain about that. And like, and the people are like, oh, they're just doing Marvel now, and it's like, no, they're not. Peacemaker is much
It's darker than anything Marvel has ever done.
deeper than a lot of things, like more emotional, like so many more in so many different areas, more than your typical Marvel movie. There's another thing that pissed me off. I saw a tweet, and I feel like people are, I don't think, going back to like a little bit of Doctor Strange, this is not anti-Sam Raimi at all, but I think there's a huge section of people who the only thing they know about Sam Raimi is Spider-Man. And they think, like, he's the greatest director of all time for making those Spider-Man movies. Because, like, I saw one tweet, it's like, finally, Marvel has an actual director making a movie. It's like, yo, Chloe Zhao just won an Oscar. James Gunn, fantastic filmmaker. Taika Waititi. It's like, okay, like, I think that's a bit of a stretch here. I love Sam Raimi. Like, obviously, you probably see more of his films than I have, but let's not act like this is like the first time Marvel has empowered a great director to make a film.
Yeah, there's half of the fans saying that. The MCU haters. The half of the MCU haters are saying, oh, they finally got a real director, whatever that means. And then the other half is saying, look how they're destroying Sam Raimi's style. This looks nothing like a Sam Raimi movie. I mean, at this point...
It's just annoying.
Well, to that point that you said that people are saying that they're just stealing Marvel's outline, it's like, no, they got James Gunn, and you just know James Gunn from Marvel. This is James Gunn's style.
There's no arguing with cultists.
No.
There are people out there that they're going to hate anything DC does if it doesn't resemble Zack Snyder's vision of DC. And Zack Snyder has denounced these fans. He got his chance to do...
Just because he has to, though.
How many DC projects? Yeah, just because he has to.
Yeah, he supports what we're doing.
Watchmen, Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Justice League. So... And he was heavily involved in the production of Wonder Woman. It's not like he wasn't given a fair shot. He was given fair shot after fair shot after fair shot, after not always succeeding at the box office. And obviously, box office isn't an indicator of a film's quality, although in this case, for me, it did kind of match up. But...
Well, it's like, yeah.
It's hilarious that
Marvel's
he got his
cutter, but if you don't do Zack Snyder style, then you don't want it.
And he got his cut released. That's the best part.
Yeah.
It's not like he wasn't able to give his vision out. He got his vision out.
Because of all the online support, because of his fans. Now I kind of regret even standing with them and tweeting "Restore the Snyderverse" because of how they still complain, how they're still whining about Zack Snyder not being involved. Zack Snyder probably doesn't want to do this anymore. This takes a lot out of you anyway. So
but I like the
let the
Snyderverse
flesh
too.
blood.
That's what sucks.
Right. But you don't
want to stand with them, though. It sucks.
You let a fresh voice like James Gunn come in, and now you have a show where so many people are liking it and enjoying it for what it is, even if it doesn't look like the old DCEU. And now we're going to season 2, and I think there's so many different levels to this character that are yet to be explored, and not only for Peacemaker but for Vigilante. I think that he's been like funny comic relief, but I think that you can even dive deeper into the fucked up mind that he has in season 2.
But that's literally what they're doing with Peacemaker. It's like we loved Peacemaker for what he was in Suicide Squad, and now we're getting a deep dive into his character and who he really is. He's complex, his head's all fucked up.
No, well, somebody has always described John Cena as a boy trapped in a wrestler's body. That those are the sort of vibes that he gives off, that boyish charm. That's why so many people wanted him for Shazam. But I think you're seeing that here, where a man who was a man who was raised as a killer, had his childhood kind of stunted, so he's emotionally immature.
Right.
He's obviously grappling with his conscience, his morals of being a state-sanctioned killer. But yeah, some people complained about the way that they made Vigilante comic relief, and that they changed his origins in the comics. They took a lot of the stuff that Vigilante deals with in the comics and they gave it to Peacemaker.
Yeah.
A lot of the moral reasonings, the back and forth, feeling guilt over what he's doing.
But it works.
Oh, it works so much.
He's so good.
Because he's...
You guys don't find him annoying at times? I think if they toned down the comedy from a 10, which is what they're at, to like a 5, this show would be like perfect.
No.
I think the
Vigilante
comedy
specifically, no. Vigilante's perfect. I think I love him as just a crazy madman. He's Deadpool, but funnier. He might be a better Deadpool.
That's a hot take.
Dude,
but
I just hate how much internal struggle
when they were all doing
Peacemaker
the team
has.
up at the end of the last episode, I was like, I'm in.
Relax. I didn't finish 7
You
yet.
know episode 7?
No, I didn't finish it yet.
Well, it's
right
not
now.
a huge spoiler. And they're like, I'm in. And Vidge is like, #me too. He's such a dope.
Yeah, he's the best.
But Peacemaker, you have a point to say before we move on here?
I was going to say, like, even Peacemaker going into season 2, like, I think it's something where obviously Fox, I think, had that was like the first indicator that, like, you can make a R-rated superhero movie, but after Deadpool, like, you didn't see really Marvel change or try to go that route, and they might not. Like, we still don't even know what Deadpool 3 is going to be like.
No, it's going to be rated R.
Okay. But, like, just they're keeping it to that character.
They realize it's just him.
Where DC
a niche
is,
for him.
DC's casting a wider net. We have a rated R Joker movie, rated R Suicide Squad, rated R Peacemaker, or TVMA, but that obviously the equivalent to rated R. And they're taking different chances, and I think it's giving us better content. So...
Yeah,
keep
Oscar
it going.
Isaac recently made comments about how he took on Moon Knight because he believed he could kind of hijack it and maybe bring it to certain areas that the MCU hasn't explored when it comes to character studies. What does it mean to be a superhero? And he said it was going to be the most character-driven MCU production since the original Iron Man. And I think you can argue that first Iron Man is the most character-driven story that the MCU has done still. So you don't even necessarily need the R rating to explore some of the things that DC is showing that they're exploring in some of their shows. Obviously, it can help, but maybe we'll see the MCU tip towards more mature content moving forward if it proves to be a success financially. But going to the next story, we're actually going to plug in a review we did for the new Kanye documentary, the trilogy that is being released on Netflix. You can go and watch that now, but we're going to plug in our review. I think I brought it in as first story, so yeah. But I'll just throw it to myself, and then he'll throw it right back. All right, guys, like we said, we are getting into the first topic for this podcast, and that is the upcoming Netflix Kanye West documentary called Jeen-yuhs. Little play on genius. Obviously, Kanye West has touted himself as a genius for a long time, even before he was signed as a rapper, and that's really what this documentary focuses on. It begins with his journey to New York City in the early 2000s, still as an unsigned producer working for Rockefeller Records, and him hustling beats, meeting with the icons, the idols that he looked up to, while trying to establish a name for himself, trying to prove to these guys, specifically Jay-Z and Dame Dash, the two leaders, the two founders of Rockefeller Records, that he could be a successful solo artist. As a massive Kanye fan coming into this, I didn't know what to think. I didn't know that it was going to be this sort of, not a found footage, but that it was going to have this raw, uncut footage of a Kanye that I never thought I would actually see with my own two eyes. I thought it was a Kanye doing a present day documentary, titling it Genius, and thinking it's just going to be a self-indulgent celebration of Kanye. And even though it is a celebration of Kanye, which, like I said, it's footage that I never thought I would actually see. So I came away after watching this, experiencing Sundance. This is my favorite movie of the festival. What did you think about this, Aaron? I know you're a big Kanye fan, obviously.
Yeah, definitely. And like that was the thing I was looking forward to most. It was just like you said too, like I didn't really know what to expect when we were picking our Sundance films. We were like, should we waste one on this? Like, what's it going to be? But I'm glad we did, because like just to have that, I don't even know if it's foresight or just luck, how everything like came to be, especially this documentary, just to have that footage of this time in his life before Kanye was Kanye, I think is just a tremendous look into, I would say, one of the most interesting people in Hollywood and entertainment right now, because people have many opinions on Kanye. And it differs from what Kanye you're talking about, whether it's the musician, the entrepreneur, the just massive celebrity presence that he is. He's the politician, Yeah, can't forget about that. Kanye 2024 now? Is that what we're doing? We're pushing forward? Regardless of that.
I don't know about weird, but yeah, he is.
No, but like, yeah, getting to see this footage at a time of his life where before the fame, before the fortune, before people knew who he was, and to see what kind of person he was, and seeing the resemblance of who he is then and who he is now, there you can always tell that he had that motivation, that confidence in himself, and that was just so interesting to see from the get-go. He always, the way he was pushing, the way he was trying to get known to show that he is more than just a producer. It was just a fascinating look on his life.
Yeah, definitely. And at a time, you don't even take into account that rapper/producer wasn't something that really worked in hip hop. Nowadays, you have these artists who come out and, they're almost like auteurist directors where they want to control everything. The first one that comes to mind is Tyler, the Creator, produces all of his own music and obviously heavily influenced by Kanye. But it was rare at the times. The contemporaries that he was working with that we see in this documentary, obviously his mentor, No ID, that he says in Big Brother, but also Just Blaze, one of the greatest producers of all time, who worked with Kanye to develop that sort of chipmunk soul sound. But those guys never even considered themselves as rappers or ever thought they had the potential to accomplish something at the time that was so bold. That first scene of him in his apartment working on All Falls Down, instantly it made me want to go back and listen to The College Dropout.
Right. Yeah.
But just to see how good it sounded. This is a man that's just, didn't even have a phone in my apartment, but he's there working on his beats all day. And he's working on these tracks, these songs, these lyrics that he's writing. And you wonder why they were so blind to the potential. Hindsight is always 20/20.
Yeah, when he's playing it and he's trying to get people like, yo, this is fire. Like, why aren't you messing with this at all? And it's just like, yeah, those early versions of those songs, hearing them and like knowing what it's going to become was just so like, I don't know. I was glued to the television, and like hearing all of his songs speaking about his life, like every time I was watching and something happened, I can reference a song that he made later on in his career that is directly talking about what he's doing in this moment. And that's another thing, like just where hip hop was at this time, him coming in, another lyric back when they thought pink polos would hurt the rock, like his style was just so different. He was rapping about himself, and like from what his experience isn't the experience of what a lot of rappers were rapping about. Look at him and Jay-Z and just the differences in their upbringings and what they talk about in their songs. And he was just so different and unique at that time. And you could see why the hesitation to maybe give him a shot, but like, whew. Another line like, looking like, damn, we messed up. Grammy night, damn right, we got dressed up. Just like through my head the whole time. That's what made it such a fun experience watching it.
Yeah, there's a quality of these people don't even realize what they're in the midst of, that this is the man who is going to unleash just a seismic shift, not only in hip-hop culture, but I think just in popular culture in general. The early 2000s, even the mid-2000s, baggy clothes, gangster rap. That was the look. That was the persona that everyone tried to copy. Here he comes, like you said, with the pink polos, the tight clothes. We're still living with the effects of that. All the attention that rappers now pay to fashion, all the NBA players, how they get dressed up before games. That's all because of Kanye. And also, seeing some of the scenes, like I said, I don't want to spoil some of these moments, but obviously he's been so open about the impact his mother had on him, not only just as a man, but as an artist. And obviously you can't, I think this documentary shows you can't separate the two, but there's a great moment where he does go back home and he shares these scenes with his mother, Donda West. And it feels like it was written as a movie scene.
Right.
Like you said, there's another quality to it where it just feels like lightning in a bottle. Like, somebody knew. I guess it would be Cootie Simmons. That's the guy you have to give credit. He had this show. I forget what they said in the documentary. He had his own show on MTV.
No, it was like a public access, I think it was.
Okay, yeah.
Something along those lines.
But it was something where interviewing musicians, interviewing stars, stuff like that. And he quit that show to follow Kanye West to New York City in 2002. He was the one who saw the potential.
Right.
So he was the one that could see, had the foresight enough to put a fucking camera in front of this guy, put a microphone in front of this guy, and just let him go loose. But, going back to that scene with him and his mom, thank God Cootie was there with that camera.
Right.
Because that moment was one of the most emotionally impactful moments of any movie I saw at Sundance, and probably of any movie I'm going to see this year.
And you can see where he gets that from. Like,
right.
He has a ton of confidence in himself, but if it's possible to imagine, his mother had more confidence in him than he did in himself, which is like that support and like that push and that drive. Like, you can see why it propelled him into where he was today and why it gets him in trouble with a lot of the people and a lot of people's opinions of him today. Because he's always had that cocky, brash attitude about him, but like that's part of the reason why he was so successful and who he is today.
Right, and you can even tell his earlier raps, he's someone who's gotten better as a rapper. But there's a scene when they're doing a bit of a cipher, right? And it's Mos Def spits his verse, and then he passes it. Oh, they're doing 2 words off of the song on College Dropout. And when it's Kanye's turn to rap his verse, it's not as well constructed as Mos Def's, but it's the passion, it's the confidence, it's the meaning behind every word that it's coming from a place of true authenticity. So as he got better as a rapper, that confidence only made it that much better. But like you said, that was something that he always had, and it's just a matter of there wasn't somebody documenting it at the time, but chances are there was. But this is the man, when they say they want the old Kanye just wasn't famous.
Right.
Now everyone sees him. Now he's under this bright light of being a superstar. So, and obviously he's a controversial figure. As a fan of his, I can't always defend everything he says and does.
That's what makes it so interesting, though.
Yes, yeah, that's why I always call him the modern day Dali. He's there to provoke through his art, but his art does come from such a genuine place that is wholly him. But yeah, some of the moments in this documentary, it was so cool to see all the legendary rappers on that scene. I felt like a friend. I felt like I was part of his crew. Like I was experiencing this with him, rooting for him, wanting him to make a lasting impression on some of these guys, like a Scarface when he raps him the Family Business verse.
Yeah.
Which was such an incredible moment.
No, that was probably one of my favorites of the documentary. And like, yeah, I think we talked about it on a previous podcast, just the moment when he walks by Jay-Z, and Jay-Z, like, doesn't big time him, but just gives him a quick dap and is like, all right, whatever. And it's just like, for the next 10, 20 years, like, this is who you're, like, going to be tied to in a lot of aspects.
Yeah, in a way, I almost want to, like Eren in Attack on Titan, get behind Jay-Z and be like, in 10 years, you're going to be making an album with this guy, and it's going to be a worldwide hit. You're going to go on tour. It's going to make a bunch of money. He's not only going to become your contemporary, he's going to surpass you.
Yeah.
And at this time, Jay-Z obviously did eventually sign him, but they were reluctant. It took a lot of pushing. I'm not going to say begging, but a lot of boasting from Kanye West. The scene when he runs up into the Rockefeller Records office in New York City, and he puts on his cassette and he's just blasting All Falls Down throughout the hallways, and everyone's looking at him like, typical Kanye. I guess Kanye came into work today. It's they're bobbing, they're weaving, they're feeling it a bit, but nothing special. It's just so cool to see him in that element.
Yeah, and that was funny. Like I said before, like hearing all these versions of these classic song or that would be classic songs, like verses that didn't make the final cut or features that didn't make it in, and it's just like seeing him workshop and the process that goes into it. Because like you said, or when you talk about Kanye, like people know him as the rapper now, but like his skill as a producer and the impact he had even before he started making his own albums was tremendous.
Oh yeah,
Blueprint is one of the best albums of all time, and like that has Kanye all over it.
and this is a young kid. This is Kanye in his early 20s when he links up with Jay-Z. I think it was the Dynasty La Familia album, that kind of group album with Beanie Siegel and Freeway and all the Rockefeller signees. This Can't Be Life. That's the first beat that Jay-Z ever got from Kanye. So this is a man who, he's 26 when The College Dropout comes out. You have to think he's 21, 22, producing for the biggest rapper in the world. The way that he managed to mesh mainstream sound with conscious lyrics was just so incredible, and that's so much of his influence comes from his ability to do that. And we've seen so many rappers, take from that approach, like a Kendrick Lamar or even a Drake. Drake's so influenced by Kanye's style, but it goes to show the influence Jay-Z had on Kanye as well, because even though he had the conscious style, like a lot of Chicago rappers had at the time, he had a lot of the Jay-Z swag to him as well. He wanted to be the Louis Vuitton Don. He wanted to spend his money on diamonds and then rap about how that made him a hypocrite. So that's why he's just such a fascinating figure. All the influences that helped him create this wholly unique figure, it comes from so many different places. There's so many different wells that he was drawing from.
But even just like if you take Kanye out of it for like, and there's the picture of the hip hop world at that time. I'm not going to spoil any because there are little cameos of people that you're like, holy shit, like just the circle he was in, just how massive it was. And some people like were big names back then, but some of them grew to be even bigger names, and you see them at that time in their lives too. It's just very interesting. It's a time capsule, and yeah, it just goes back to Cootie like just being like, fuck it, this guy's interesting, I think he has potential, I'm just going to follow him around, and captured absolute gold.
Yeah, I think I said this on a previous podcast, but their first meeting, Cootie and Kanye West, they meet at a Jermaine Dupri birthday party in 1998, and Cootie's interviewing all these other local rappers, unsigned rappers who were trying to establish themselves, and he gets to Kanye West. And the other guys, they spoke for 10, 15 seconds, introduced themselves. Kanye speaks for like 2 minutes. And he's hyping up everyone. He's hyping up himself. He's shouting out his boys at home. And you could see, they talk about you only get one chance at a first impression. That first impression he made on Cootie, he instantly knew, okay, this guy is going somewhere. Maybe he won't be the biggest star in the world, but you could just tell he was going to be successful.
I wonder, because he was a comedian, and obviously he had some, show business experience, but, to be able to kind of, as an amateur filmmaker, still get what he got and present it the way he did is very impressive.
No, I think that is very impressive, yeah.
And, it makes me think so much, though. It's the way, because it is a skill. You can't just have a camera, there are certain things you need to get, and, especially, I wonder just how much footage ended up on the cutting room floor, or footage that he just wasn't around for, missed opportunities. But
I know.
There's just so much. But what he got was just... I'm surprised it's only 3 parts.
Well, I love when one of the Rockefeller guys goes, I think it might have been Scarface. It's like, who's that? Points to the cameraman. It's like, what, you doing the Kanye doc? So they're making fun of him. Look at this producer doing a documentary on himself. It's ridiculous. But I think he uses the camera in a way where it puts you right in the midst of it. Like I said, you feel like you're just one of the gang. So you could tell that he's doing a good job of capturing a lot of these intimate moments, but staying out of the way, never getting too involved in what Kanye is actually doing. And I think that's documentary filming 101, is you let reality tell the story. You're just there to capture it in the best way possible. And I think he definitely did it's obviously not something he was preparing for. No. Like you said, he wasn't trained as a documentary filmmaker, but it's one of those lightning in a bottles type of situations.
At what time do you think he was like, holy shit, it's we got something here? Not just for Kanye, but just as the documentary, this is going to be huge.
Probably when the hype started building towards him being signed. One day this could be something huge.
You can get signed and just not really...
Well, Gold Digger, right? Probably. Yeah. By the time he got to Stronger, that era, because that's when the first 3 album run, That first 4 years of Kanye was an incredible first 4 years for any rapper. And obviously he maintained, he's a legend now, but he was top of the game for like his first 5 years. It wasn't until Lil Wayne really blew up in 08, 09, and then they kind of competed. They were friendly competition there.
I remember I didn't hate Kanye, but like I was like, come on, like New York, 50 Cent was my guy. And like when they had that beef going, I'm like, yeah, fuck Kanye. Like he can't touch 50.
I ended up buying both albums because I liked them both. I was like, guys, stop fighting. But Kanye West has that on his resume. Not a gangster rapper whatsoever, but he went toe-to-toe with the professional troll of hip-hop who managed to destroy careers, who essentially never lost a beef, and Kanye smoked him by staying true to himself, by dropping a song with T-Pain calling it Good Life and referencing 50's line from In the Club, So he comes out of that unscathed, untouched. Obviously his beefs these days are a bit more immature.
Billie Eilish. How do you go to 50 to Billie Eilish?
That man will square up with anyone. It's Kanye, right? Yeah.
Oh, God.
Maybe 50, maybe we should have been rooting more for 50, or I should have.
50 Cent to Taylor Swift, not a Billie Eilish.
All right, Aaron, any last thoughts on the Kanye doc before we move on to some topics?
No, just, I can't wait for everyone to see it, and I just want to see the reaction it gets, because, like, we see shit like Tiger King take over the world, and I think this is just so much better, so much more better made and so much more interesting with a figure that is iconic now, whether you like him or not. So I'm interested to see like how this kind of people's perceptions of Kanye, especially this earlier look into his life.
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited to see the conversation surrounding it on social media, how people are going to react to it. I think that the reception is going to be mostly positive from critics and from fans, and can't wait for part 2 and part 3. I have no idea what they're going to get into. Obviously he's lived such a crazy life.
That's why I say 3 parts seems kind of like...
And what they don't talk about in this part 1, which I assume they'll get into it in part 2 and part 3, is how Kanye cut off Cootie for 15 years until they reunited, until they got back together. So I think the doc begins with footage in the present day, where it's at Kanye's house and they're all older, and then obviously it goes back almost 2 decades. But part 2 and part 3 should be just as fascinating as part 1. But like you said, ditto those comments about the response people are going to have to it, and just the overall conversation. Hopefully it's very popular. And here we are, next topic. Look at that Kanye doc. Ted, you gotta watch that.
What's it on?
It's on Netflix.
Yeah, it's on
All
Netflix.
Right. Is it all? So it's all out right now? I can watch it.
No, just part 1.
Just part 1.
Tomorrow.
Right.
And
best parts though.
And you guys seen part 2?
We've seen it all.
We saw it with Kanye.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
He screened it for us.
Yeah.
Where was his tip?
That's why they broke up with
Where was
Julia
this?
Fox, because Julia Fox fell in love with me while we watched the screening with them. It was a whole thing. You don't remember? Oh yeah, you weren't there. It was just me and Bo.
I don't get why I couldn't get the invite to come watch it.
With Kanye?
No, that we could have invited you over and airplayed it to the TV, made some popcorn,
God forbid.
It would have been
40
a night.
nuggets from Chick-fil-A.
For McDonald's?
I'm more of a Chick-fil-A guy these days. All right, let's move on to the next story.
Why is that?
Star Trek is returning for another live-action movie in this J.J. Abrams rebooted universe that's also part of the original continuity, but it's also different. It's like an alternate. You guys haven't seen these movies yet, huh?
This is you, huh?
This is a
This
bow
is you.
topic,
This is
right?
strictly a Bo topic. I'm
I've never-
excited.
I like Chris Pine.
Yeah, Chris Pine's great.
No, Chris Pine
It's one of the better Chris's.
Chris Pine and Zachary Quinto. So that's a headline for this story. Is that Chris Pine, Zachary Quinto, Zoe Saldana, Carl Urban, John Cho, and Simon Pegg are all returning as their characters, as their iconic characters. It's funny. When writing this topic, Star Trek fans are just as worse as Star Wars fans, but they're just not as amplified because nobody gives a fuck.
Is this a good topic or a bad topic, though?
No, it's a good topic. It's a good topic because I think the last movie was the most beloved by the hardcore Trekkies.
Okay.
I think they didn't like the first one. No, they lukewarm towards the first one. Hated the second one. The second one was
Abomination?
Into Darkness.
Probably hard to keep up with. Like, I don't know what Star Wars is anymore. When someone says, like, that's not Star Wars, I'm like, well, I don't know what it is anymore.
It's Star Trek. It's much easier because J.J. Abrams brought Star Wars to Star Trek with that 2009 reboot. Even though the first movie I do like, and I don't mind the second one either. Obviously, it's kind of like a remake of what is considered the best Star Trek movie that came out in the 80s, Star Trek II, Wrath of Khan. And they whitewashed Khan with Benedict Cumberbatch, even though he was okay in the role. So, but Beyond was easily the most, like I said, beloved. Sophia Boutella was so good as a supporting character in that role, and she's going to be returning for Star Trek 4 as well as just a totally new character named Jayla, so I'm excited for that as well. And obviously, you know, Anton Yelchin won't be back as Chekhov, which is emotional. I'm sure they'll reference his character in some way. They obviously gave him the tribute at the end of Star Trek 3. Star Trek has gone through so many different, you know, announced projects over the last 6 years.
Yeah,
the Tarantino.
Tarantino's.
There were some, obviously there are some shows that are running on, I forget the streaming service, but hey,
Paramount?
if it's a good idea and if it's something that the actors are excited about because they're so good in these roles, then I'm on board for it.
I actually have Paramount Plus. I watched SpongeBob on it.
It's another thing about the Super Bowl. All right, we got it. Peacock sucks.
Oh, wait, I have a question about Star Trek for you. I remember you saying Star Trek, the show, like the old show that everyone loves,
Yeah.
is every episode is a new story or mission.
Yeah.
Were these movies different missions, or were they all combined? And is this one going to be part of? Will it be a new mission, or is it going to be a part of 1, 2, and 3?
No, they all usually are new missions.
Okay.
They obviously keep continuity with the character relationships, so it's the same
Right.
crew. But yeah, the big problem that people have is when you go back and you watch those original Star Trek shows, obviously the special effects are what it is. It's a show being made in the 60s, but it was about the social and political commentary. It was about the philosophical themes that they were balancing through sci-fi. And Tarantino, that's why I was so excited for his Star Trek movie, because he said he was just going to go back and adapt one of those original stories.
Play the hits.
It's a gold mine, dude. Even Star Trek The Next Generation, where you watch some of these episodes and it's like, how come sci-fi movies aren't this original today? When people say, oh, there are no original ideas out there, I mean, you can produce dozens and dozens and dozens of sci-fi movies from Star Trek ideas, and people will be like, where the hell did all these ideas come from? So, well, they're just kind of sitting there. So maybe they're, you know, obviously they're still not original because people have done them, but I hope that the new Star Trek is more in the vein of those original shows, more cerebral, more heady, less action-oriented, and I think that's why people liked Beyond the most, because it was more low to the ground, more focused on what drives these characters to be space explorers, you know?
Like a little rogue team taking on the universe.
Well,
Kind of like Guardians.
yeah, but they're more like classy. That's the other thing. It's an optimistic view on the future. So it's not the future went terrible, humans destroyed the Earth. It's humanity's pretty united.
Yeah.
And
That's nice.
yeah, that's cool. I always wanted to be like a Star Trek captain. And then one of my friends told me there's a video game called Mass Effect where you're basically like a Starfleet captain. So I've been playing that.
Can you handle that kind of
No.
pressure, though?
No, well, all your decisions impact the story, even going into the second and third installment in the game.
Jeez.
So, yeah, I've been sweating on every decision. I'm trying to be like a tough guy with a heart of gold.
Yeah.
Stern but fair.
Yes. But I'm a pushover already. I keep fucking up.
Your crew's already fucking
Yeah.
splitting up.
Like, I agreed, you could agree with a character or discipline him, and I agreed with him, but then my superior heard us talking. It made me look like an asshole.
God damn it.
So you're too soft, is what they're saying. So
Well,
you got
yeah,
half the crew thinks you're too soft to the lead, and the other half thinks you're a good enough leader.
I'm going to be killed. Yeah, so
Okay.
I'm going to be usurped. Not even going to make it to the second one. Well,
Imagine.
speaking of, go ahead.
I always wanted a game like that where you die, the game's over.
Game's over.
You start over again?
$60 down the drain.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
would
you
be
can't play
funny.
anymore?
Yeah. Your file's just deleted.
That's like if you want
It's
to make
life.
a game
Can you imagine
realistic,
that?
like no
I
respawning
want
in
to pay
real
for that
life.
game. No way.
What if it's like the greatest game of all time?
Yeah, become like a whole event thing.
And if you beat it, like you become like people know. You can brag.
You own the Matrix.
And if I lose, I'm only out $60. There's no repercussions in real life.
It's like Wordle. If you win, you can like rub it into your friends.
All right.
Yeah, you make it like a lottery. Everyone who buys in is just half of their money goes to the first person who beats it.
No, because that's not gonna be me.
Yeah, I'm not going to beat that first.
Yeah, no, it's on.
It'll be some fucking nerd.
You speed ran in 3 hours.
Well, speaking of video games, the new Halo series has already been greenlit
I
for...
don't get this topic.
What don't you get? You don't understand how it's already been greenlit for season 2? Did you
Hopefully
watch
that
the
means it's
trailer
good.
for season 1?
No,
Have
I
you guys
didn't.
seen the trailer?
I didn't, but like we said earlier, who gives a shit about a trailer? You gotta wait for the show to come out.
No,
Good
trailers
point,
are...
but the trailer doesn't look good.
No.
I don't know. What did you think? I didn't think it looked anything that special. I mean, I'm vaguely familiar with the Call of Duty, Halo lore, Master Chief. He finds a ring.
Nazi
No,
zombies.
Nazi zombies, right?
Yeah, I'm surprised. Like that only really happens when like a show is good.
Yeah, when
So,
the
like-
show's a certified banger.
So that's like.
Like Peacemaker.
I would assume
it came
that's a
out
good
really
thing.
good. They got greenlit for it too.
But when you think about it, like you got to put into perspective, like where it's coming and the company that's producing it. For Paramount Plus,
Yeah.
like this has to work for them. It doesn't have to work, but this is where you're gonna get like maybe some of your legitimacy by having a great big fucking show that is gonna bring people to your streaming service, and that's Halo.
That's what Amazon did, right?
I mean, Amazon was
When they made
already
The Boys.
Amazon was built on Amazon.
Yeah, I guess.
It's Amazon, and like I think they just had, especially because it's like everyone has Amazon Prime for free already, because everyone already has Amazon Prime, so you just watch the movies. And slowly but surely, they built like a pretty great streaming service. Paramount Plus has no fucking appeal. Talk about Peacock trying to using Law and Order or like revival to
Office.
get people to their streaming service. Last year's Super Bowl was a fucking huge commercial for Paramount Plus, and
Yeah, I remember that.
nobody got it. So like
Well-
they're relying a lot on this to kind of be one of the foundations of their streaming service. So
So I read a quote from that link you sent in the outline, and it said that the CEO said that they're going all in, right? They're throwing everything at it right now, and I guess greenlighting this for season 2 was part of that all in.
This is CBS, right?
yeah, so
Yeah, Super
Star
Bowl.
Treks, they have
Yeah.
all the Star Treks. They have this. They have a Transformers they're
Well,
building.
that's our next story is the rest of their slate that they've released. Transformers Rise of the Beast live action movie coming in 2023, and then there's also going to be a CG animated movie coming in 2024, and a kids Transformers show called Earthspark that
They
will
got
be
Sonic
on
too.
Nickelodeon. Yeah, Sonic 2 is coming out this April,
A
but
live action Dora the Explorer.
But I feel like the problem with this is like
Sonic spin-off with Idris Elba.
it's hard to
2
like
South Park films.
HBO.
A Quiet Place 3.
HBO Max is kind of like one of the newer streaming services, but I feel like HBO is just so ingrained into like the television world where it's like even before HBO Max, you had HBO Go. So basically, it's just going by a different name. Well, you already subscribe from HBO, and you already know they have years and years and years and years of prestige television. Like trying to catch up with already established names like Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon, like
They won't.
people are not.
Some of
going
these
to-
streaming services are going to die.
yeah.
No, like Peacock thought they were gonna take Office and just run with it
And
make
Parks
it,
and Rec.
Yeah, and make a huge
That worked for me
huge
for a
following.
little.
Like, no, you're not gonna do that. You're just gonna piss people off and not make them watch the show anymore.
But it's like even
want-
like it's
Well,
hard.
what's going to happen is this is not going to be financially sustainable for all these networks. I mean, these are becoming mega companies. And I think the way that a lot of these certain businesses and entertainment are becoming consolidated under one umbrella, I think that's going to change in the next 10 to 15 years. There's going to be a crackdown. There's going to be these companies are going to be broken up.
I feel like if it wasn't for Disney, like in Hulu, like Hulu might be in trouble because I don't really see the like.
I said, yo, dude, there's no appeal on Hulu.
No, Hulu's
There's like
living
maybe
off of
3 or 4. I watch Hulu for the animated shows.
Yeah, anime too. Like,
That's the only reason why I watch Hulu.
their original content has not been up to the same level as these other streaming
now
services.
under the Disney umbrella,
across the board.
so it's easy to consolidate that too. If Hulu's not really working, then no, you just rebrand it Disney Plus or whatever.
Well, I initially said when they made the Fox deal that it was going to come with majority stake in Hulu. Why even do a Disney Plus? I mean, I guess it's Disney, so you have the name there, but you could have just put all your Disney shit on Hulu.
Yeah.
And combine those
Hulu shit on
libraries.
Disney.
Well,
Yeah,
I saw
instead of
that-
people, I mean, obviously you could still buy the stupid bundle, but you're still charging people more for access to 2 separate streaming services when they really should just be one.
I
But-
saw that Disney is taking the Netflix original Marvel shows out, and they're coming to Disney.
They are going to be on Disney Plus.
Yeah, so they're coming off of Netflix.
Yeah, I saw that they were coming off of Netflix. I didn't know if that was a Disney move.
Like, where are you gonna put that? Hulu? You can put that on Hulu.
Well, I would put those that Daredevil. You can pop that on the headline of the Disney Plus interface, when you first log on.
Just the bloody
New
guy.
to Disney Plus. Yeah.
I think as it progresses and Disney Plus kind of
Take away the castle, put Deadpool.
gets settles in like the foundation of like one of the premier streaming services, I think they'll get more lenient on what they allow on the service.
Yeah, I mean, I really should just cancel my Disney Plus at the moment.
I only have it now
Obi-Wan
'cause it's
Kenobi
free.
comes back.
I have
Right,
Verizon now, so it's free.
Did you see that picture of the Blue's Clues movie, Blue's Big City Adventure? They brought back all the hosts.
No.
It's going to be Blue's Clues No Way Home.
Is that on Paramount Plus too?
Yeah, it's coming to Paramount Plus. And
Maybe.
an animated Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles
saw
film
that.
from Seth Rogen.
But what's the appeal? Especially if Halo sucks, what's the appeal? If Halo comes out and it's fucking all anyone could talk about and it's like amazing, I'll get the free
It doesn't
trial.
look like that
I think
at
I think they've tried with Halo and it didn't work. I could have sworn a live action movie came out for Halo. and it
No,
was
this is the
horrible.
first, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay.
There was, production
rumors,
hell
yeah.
for a long time. They had that whole campaign where the gamers came to Hollywood and they were like, all right, you guys pitch us on what should be the Halo movie.
But
and Hollywood
Halo
was
is-
like, get the fuck out of here.
The
We don't give a fuck."
Halo story is a really good storyline. Like there's something there.
Oh, yeah, obviously.
They just gotta make it right.
It looks too much like a video game cutscene, that
Yeah.
first trailer. I don't know.
I
There's
love a
definitely a
cutscene,
story
though.
there. But we'll see.
We're doing BioShock. It's another attempt at a video game. And I think the first comment I read about that is like, there's so much here. How are you going to make a movie out of this?
Isn't that a good thing though? When there's a
Well,
lot
that
of
was,
material there.
Well, no, if you know how to pick and choose what you want
Yeah.
and put it in the right format. But if you're going to try to squeeze all that into a 2-hour
true.
feature, then no, it's a terrible thing.
What's his face? The IndieWire critic, his review for Uncharted was video game movies used to not provide movies. Video games used to not provide movies with enough material to craft a movie, and now video games have surpassed filmmaking, where there's just too much, and it's how do you properly honor all of
Look at
this?
Last of Us.
So
It's
you
a
do
good
a-
TV show.
Uncharted?
It's
'Cause
getting
Chris-
it's getting shitted on.
Really?
Yeah,
Chris Stuckman made a review on it.
he liked it.
No, but like I knew
No, he hated it.
I didn't watch it, but like he made a video a while back, like since he's entering the film world, that he's not going to make videos shitting on movies anymore or new movies that come out.
Okay, so he'll only do positive reviews.
So every time I see him do a review, I won't watch it. I'm like, oh, he must have liked that, unless he just changed his mind. I was like, this is so bad, I need to shit on it.
Hey man, the only format that I stand by this is TV show for video games. It's the only way to do it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it depends on the story, but most of them, it's similar to anime, where I don't need the adaptation anymore because a lot of these games that are being adapted are fulfilling me in the way that movies or shows do in terms of their narratives.
So you're saying
Where
you
I
don't
don't-
do it or do it in a TV show?
Pretty much.
But I'm trying to think of I guess that's films always adapted novels and plays and now video games, so it's going to keep happening. But Uncharted,
Pretty soon.
right
it'll
off
be-
the bat, you could say give Tom Holland a chance, but am I surprised that he didn't fit the role? No.
Yeah.
Am I surprised that Wahlberg didn't fit the role? That's not even a give him a chance situation. I mean, we all knew that right off the bat. That's not Sully. He's just not.
It looks nothing like Sully.
Right. So what
to begin
the
with.
best part of Uncharted goes into all this cool history and he's Indiana Jones and it's got action, but the relationship between Nate and Sully is so wholesome. It's so sweet. It's the heart of that story. It's the heart of those games. So if you don't have that, you have nothing. Nobody's going to give a fuck.
I don't think
Because
I've-
that's what draws you in. It's about, we've seen it through Indiana Jones, but you care about Nate and Sully. You care about their father-son makeshift relationship.
Ellie and Joel, man.
I don't think I've ever had like an emotional connection to a Mark Wahlberg character.
Maybe
That's
in
a good
Patriot,
point. And for the
Patriots
he's
Day, whatever it
supposed to
was,
be
the-
fatherly.
No. Like, I mean, yeah, like obviously
tried.
you want him to like do
Yeah.
good, but like nothing about the character was like, I want him. It's like, let somebody else do it then.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be like the feeling of watching Ned Stark be a great dad to Arya. That's supposed to be the feelings you get from Sully. Those warm, fatherly figure type of, heart of gold, but a little perverted because he's old and comes from a different generation. Smokes his cigars.
Yeah.
Great mustache.
Even in the fighter, I wanted him to get KO'd in the first round.
What
Yeah, he's good. His best role is the other guys is because he's a loser.
But before we go into fan questions, what annoys you guys more? a video game trying to adapt into a TV show or movie, or a movie or a TV show adapting to a video game, and they suck.
I used to love when every movie got made into a video game.
Like both scenarios, they're bad. What annoys you more?
I would say there's more success the opposite way. I mean, the Star Wars, the racer game.
Yeah, the racer game.
That's a fucking banger.
Well, Lucas really made an effort to make a good game. A lot of studios just do it for money.
Right.
Lucas really cared about that shit, so I'm not surprised that was a good game, you know. But a lot of these studios is just...
Oh, no, yeah.
Some of the games that they've made for certain movies are so funny.
Yeah.
But it's like, why would they make a game for that movie?
Yeah.
Damn, they were
The Harry
desperate.
Potter series. With
Yeah,
games.
those games have
Oh
always
my
been
God.
bad. The Shrek games.
Lord of the Rings game was
There
good.
was a Shrek game?
I'm pretty sure they were Shrek games.
Remember the Burger
Yeah.
King video game?
No.
You don't remember that?
No.
When the first new consoles came out, you go to Burger King and they had like Burger King games for Xbox 360.
No, I never knew they had that.
Yeah, they did.
I would say the Simpsons arcade game is up there as an all-timer.
That's a great one.
And
The
also
taxi
the
game for Simpsons is fucking
Oh,
great.
Taxi
the
game.
Grand Theft Auto one, like type Simpsons game.
Yeah.
What's it called? Road Rage.
Yeah. And then the South Park game that people love.
The N64 game, you throw like pea snowballs at each other.
No,
the snowball
the butthole game, the magic butthole.
No.
All right, let's move on to fan questions.
That's for the fan to decide.
People you call up to the show, you better be ready. That's what you're supposed to do. Sitting there arguing and you're trying to spell your name and all of this other stuff. It's not your show, it's my show. I'm giving you the opportunity to speak your mind. Don't call up here unless you got something to say.
This question here from Bogey Boy Brandon. Best Batman origin story. Hot take, I would say Mask of the Phantasm.
The
fractured but whole.
Yes, fractured butthole. There you go. That's what
good.
it is.
That's funny. But like the other day we were talking about how the Arkham games are probably like the best Batman stories like ever told. Like speaking to the video game medium, just like being to play Batman and also having such an awesome story connected to it. But Arkham Origins is probably the worst game out of that bunch. Except for Asylum, but Asylum's so different from the other ones. But in terms of like, but still, I feel like that's still a great game, and like that story is one of that whole like, what is it? 3 games now? It's Arkham Knight, Arkham Origins, and Arkham.
Technically 4, but yeah.
I feel like that as a whole is just such a great Batman story.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
even the origin I like a lot. Just like kind of the, maybe not the gameplay so much, but like the cutscenes and kind of the story revolving that as Batman. I would just watch Batman Begins again. I feel like that's a solid origin. I think
I love Batman Begins.
I think
So
like
close to watching that like 2 nights ago.
I think the first half of that movie, like where it really is that typical origin story and kind of getting introduced to this version of Bruce Wayne and seeing what leads him to become Batman, I think is especially well done.
Yeah, Mask of Phantasm is a great origin story, and you know, The Dark Knight was certainly influenced by that movie. And there are some other great Batman stories that the Nolan movies were influenced by, but yeah, that's a good one. And I think that the Reeves movie looks like it's taking a lot from Scott Snyder's Batman Zero Year, where it begins with a rookie Batman facing off against the Riddler. The Riddler is working for the mob, so he's connected to the Penguin in some sort of way, and it's conspiracy theory that Batman's got to try to put it together. So that's why I'm so excited for the Batman, because that is by far my favorite comic for Batman.
Did you watch
Zero Year?
Did you watch Year One? The
Year
animated
One's
movie?
another good one.
Yeah.
I never watched. No, I did watch the movie. Yeah, that's with what's his face, right? Who voices Gordon, Bryan Cranston.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember Bryan Cranston talking about it and saying, "I didn't know Batman stories were this good."
Yeah. And I don't really remember this. Like I remember watching.
Well, this
it.
one, the Reeves one, is certainly taken from Year One as well, and so did Batman Begins. Obviously, Batman facing off against the mob, bringing in Gordon as a righteous cop. Gordon in Batman Year One is way more fucked up, actually. I wonder if we'll see that with Jeffrey Wright. I wonder if he'll be like a "I've made some mistakes" type of Gordon, and I'm trying to rectify them. I think that's a more interesting Gordon.
Gordon's always making mistakes.
He's a past.
Yeah, but you know, Year One Gordon was like, I'm taking money from the mob and shit. You know, Dark Knight Gordon was a white knight through and through, and I love Gary Oldman as Gordon. Very underrated, I think.
I think more in Rises though. Like,
So you're saying you want the
no,
corrupt,
he's more of a scumbag. Yeah, I guess hiding the truth.
you want the corrupt cop?
Yeah, I want
police-
corrupt cop who's trying to make up for his mistakes.
I wanted to say that.
Because Jeffrey Wright seems like when the car comes in the church, he's like, "Get your hands up." He's got like a douche cop persona to him.
Like, doesn't need Batman's help.
Yeah, he's more, Batman approaches him.
Yeah.
Like I want you to work with me more so than I'm Gordon and I need Batman. You know?
I feel like Gotham, they had an excellent opportunity to make like a really superior Bruce Wayne Batman origin story. But I feel like they just tried to do so much with that it never really felt like whole.
Because at first it was supposed to be, the appeal is that it's set in Batman's universe, but it's not going to be about Batman.
Yeah.
And then they wanted to make it about Batman, and they were never allowed because you're not allowed to do Batman on TV, so it sucks. Batman would obviously be better on TV, right? A serial Batman detective style show, like on HBO.
Why can't you do it?
They don't want to put Batman on TV. He makes too much money in the movies. They'll put Superman on TV.
I wonder if he'll be involved in because they are going to do a series with Jim Gordon, right? For HBO Max?
Yeah, I think they're with Jeffrey Wright, right?
So I wonder if that might predate this movie, or...
You hear about Matt Reeves saying he wants Mr. Freeze in the sequel?
Oh, let's go.
How would you make a realistic
Arnold?
Mr. Freeze?
We got Arnold back?
He said that he thinks there's a grounded version of that story, but he wants to kind of peel back some of the fantastical elements here.
Okay.
So I think maybe he'll lean into... But I think there's a grounded, fantastical way to do it, if that even makes sense.
Well, I feel like if you look at Firefly, I think you can do a grounded Firefly. So we just switch to fire for ice, and there you go.
Yeah, I think with, if you get a big budget and you just make the suit look badass, it doesn't have to be this big hulking suit. It can just be... Mr. Freeze was some of the... Those fights with Mr. Freeze were terrifying in those Arkham games.
He's
a psychopath.
Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Freeze has
I thought you were gonna say Batman and Robin until like one.
Schwarzenegger, bring him back.
Speaking of origins, he has a very devastating origin story.
Dude, Bautista is Mr. Freeze.
Ooh, I like that.
He'd be better for Bane.
What is Freeze's origin story? His wife died. And he wants to
Well, that goes back to the animated cartoon. So they took the animated cartoon did such a great job of that, of making those Batman villains more complex. But that is an idea that originally goes to the cartoon.
Even in Arkham Asylum, he's a very good character. You only get like that one.
I can play his fucking Arkham games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only like that one main mission with him, but you get a lot out of that character from that.
Well,
I tried playing an Arkham game on PlayStation Now, but I guess it wasn't the ones you guys are talking about.
Yeah, you were playing the wrong one. I'll put you on the right direction. This question here from International Man of Mystery: which villains would you most want to see in Batman sequels, and why is it Mr. Freeze? I would love to see Mr. Freeze.
I want to Hush.
Somebody was saying Pattinson's going to come out because he seems to know so much about Batman, and say that Hush was mid, and just ruin it completely for people. I think Hush would be cool.
Dude, he's spitting, man.
No, now he's saying he wants Superman. He wants Val Zod Superman. Earth 2 Superman, I think he is.
Well, I liked what he said when they asked him why he put Vengeance after he beat him up. It's originally it was supposed to be before he fought the guy in that scene. He's like, I wanted to do it to somebody who's basically dead. Guy just gets it.
I want to see Matt Reeves. I'm a sucker for Batman and Joker. I know people are going to be like, how many Jokers do you need to see? But just based on
you can't get enough Joker, man.
No, you can't.
If it's done right, you can't get enough Joker.
And somebody that I follow on Twitter made this point a few weeks back, that Pattinson is someone who could have played Joker, but he's playing Batman. Right. So who do you get to match the crazy of Pattinson's Batman?
Hugo Strange too is another one. I like the
Scarecrow.
I love Scarecrow. He's another one. Arkham, very good in.
I was going to say Riddler.
Yeah.
I don't know, spitballing
here,
Riddler.
No, I both
a good Riddler, bro.
Even like a dark
nice
Mad Hatter would be fucking sick.
Yeah. Dark Mad Hatter would be really fun.
And even though he is kind of Arkham games, he's kind of fucked up.
Drugging Batman and shit, making him see psychedelic visions. Poison Ivy. Ooh. Let's get Poison Ivy back in the game, man.
Is Deadshot, would Idris Elba's guy be part of Batman's?
We're going to name the whole gallery.
I know.
Well, Deathstroke is
No, he's Bloodsport now.
Bloodsport, okay.
Going back to even the
Deadshot.
The Arkham games, I think the best video game clip or trailer of all time is that Deathstroke versus Batman fight scene. That's there's no better cutscene than that.
It is so well done. The fight choreography is amazing. And that's another guy I would love to see. I mean, Joe Manganiello was the perfect casting for Deathstroke.
I know, we never got to see him in action. We never got to see any Deathstroke in action anyway. Like, the animated series, sure, in the Arkham games, but, like...
If he doesn't come back,
well, no, there is one, and he's in the Teen Titans series, I think Deathstroke's in it. Because he is kind of like, he shares Batman and them as being a villain for...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, he's originally Teen Titans.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Kristen Stewart as the Joker. People have jokingly suggested that.
Taylor Lautner. I feel bad for Taylor Lautner.
Yeah, no, he's not.
Yeah, Paramount Plus is fucking rebooting Teen Wolf apparently too.
Damn, why didn't we open with that?
I don't know. Bring up Taylor Lautner.
This question here.
Dude has such a good rogues gallery. Holy shit.
Batman.
Yeah.
This question here from DevMD96. Which show fell off harder, Game of Thrones after Season 6 or Westworld after Season 1?
I think Westworld.
Westworld. No one cares about Westworld anymore.
I know, for real. I can't believe I was like insanely obsessed with Westworld, and now like forgot it like existed.
And even Season 7, like, obviously wasn't to the standards of any of the previous 6, but like it could be better than 5. But Spoils of War fucking took over the internet. People love that episode, and I think it's a very good episode as well. And I think there are still like great moments in that season as a whole. Like, even compared to Season 6 or Season 3, some of the better seasons, sure, it's not as good, but like it's still better than most of what was on TV, and still very good.
You're saying Season 7?
Game of Thrones, yeah.
Okay. Not Season 8.
Well, let's,
I think you can argue, listen, nobody gives a fuck about Westworld anymore, and they blew it by going past Season 1. You ended with Season 1, that's one of the best miniseries of all time. Season 2 wasn't that big of a drop-off. Season 3 was. Season 3 is garbage. The second half of Season 3 is... They lost track of what made Westworld good completely.
100%.
But you could argue Season 2 is better than Season 7 of Game of Thrones. It's certainly better than Season 8. But I would say Westworld, the Season 2 to Season 3 drop, is bigger than any drop in quality that Game of Thrones ever had. So I would say Game of Thrones Season 8 is still better than Westworld Season 3, in my opinion.
Season 3 became unwatchable.
All right, final question here from Will Keegan. What movie, probably a Teddy question, even though it's not directed to Teddy. What movies and shows from 2021 did you want to see but didn't have the time? Do you have time?
Everything. Yeah, I know.
That's 2021. It was tough. I'm
working on Ozark right now.
Nice. There's a lot I haven't been able to see, and
Suits. I want to watch.
Suits.
Yeah.
Like the TBS original series Suits.
Suits. Yeah, I heard it's really good.
Well, this isn't 2021, but I've heard Yellow Jackets is phenomenal.
Yellowstone. I heard it was really good.
Me too. And
everyone's telling me to watch Yellowstone.
Don't. Dude. Who's everyone? Everyone in your family?
A lot of work, friends, family, yeah.
That's Taylor Sheridan, right?
Yellowstone?
Yeah.
I know it's Kevin Costner.
There's a movie coming out, too, about it.
Yes, there is a movie. I heard Dope Sick was good.
Euphoria.
I feel like that's depressing.
Euphoria, I don't want to watch, but I want to watch because of how much hype's around it, and I need to see it now.
I've never swayed an opinion so much in Euphoria. In the beginning of this season, everyone was talking about, like, oh, maybe I'll give this a shot. And then just seeing people who I know are fans of the show and, like, shit on it constantly, I'm like, well, why would I watch it?
Yeah, there seems to be, like, two types of Euphoria fans. People who hate watching it and people who don't really watch other stuff but love Euphoria and think it's the modern-day version of
Shakespeare.
Pulp Fiction.
I'm going to be hate watching it for sure when I do watch it.
Yeah, and I think there's nothing wrong with a good old hate watch.
It's someone either praising or absolutely shitting on the same exact scene.
No, the real growth is when you can hate watch and learn to like it. That's where you show growth, you know?
Well, no, that's when you need to be put down.
Yeah.
That's why.
Well, it's like with Star Wars. Like,
you got duped.
I don't feel like anyone who's not a Star Wars fan now or has never seen Star Wars, why would they start Star Wars? Because I would be on the outside looking in. It's like, it seems like you guys hate this.
Yeah, exactly.
Or it's like Game of Thrones, like, where people would be like, oh, well, all I know about this show is that it ends fucking tragically.
No, I think a lot
so why watch it?
Not in story, but like bad. So it's like, why would I start?
With Star Wars, a lot of people who haven't seen it as kids, they refuse to watch it because I think they become annoyed by everyone else who has seen it. So it becomes part of their personality. I've never seen Star Wars. That's Nash. You know, you can't talk about Star Wars around Nash without him thinking that he watched
Boba Fett.
Well, he'll do anything.
I wouldn't put it past him to watch Boba Fett, though. just to put it on to watch, and then he gets hooked on it. It's like some shit I would do.
No, total. I know. I do
it all the
Nash,
time.
no way. But Nash hates that type of shit. My feeling was that he got suckered into it because he's a sucker for love.
So I used to be a big
Texting us on the
Supernatural
side.
fan, and I haven't watched it in a while because I just got off of it and I never
What's
put it
the
back
show?
on. Supernatural.
Okay, right.
And
Your favorite show.
And like I watched one episode yesterday, and I watched 16 episodes in a row. It's like the second you get on a train, it's like you just keep going. It's like
No, but
if Nash
that's-
would have turned on Boba Fett once and liked it, he could have rattled off the whole season. You know?
That would be
Right.
the most ridiculous place to start for somebody.
Yo, this guy Nash hasn't seen any Star Wars. He watches Boba Fett.
And then Bash judgment on Star Wars.
And then the next thing he watches is Rogue One. I guess that would be a better place to start. All right, guys, that is the Nerd Soup podcast for today. Thank you for listening. Thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Share it, like it, do all that stuff. Make sure you rate us 5 stars. Send us cookies if you're from a place where, they don't make those type of cookies in America.
Weed cookies?
No, just, I don't know. There's unique candies and sweets to all different places of the world,
Mushroom
Just
cookies?
don't put drugs in it, because I have a drug test coming up.
Okay, yeah. Don't put
okay.
drugs in the foods that you're going to send to us because Teddy's got a drug test.
You
But-
can't trust people nowadays, man.
That was like, remember when like the big fear was like getting drug candy on Halloween?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. That was a big, or razors.
No, that or what was that thing? People open the mail
What
and they
kind of
get
sick
hit with like
freak?
smoke or white powder or some shit.
Yeah,
Anthrax? Anthrax? Was that what it was?
Anthrax.
Oh, yeah.
That was a big thing
The
in the mail.
fucking Joker wouldn't do that to kids, put razor in candy.
People are sick, man. I don't know.
You think?
Yeah, there's one sicko. It only takes one sicko to put razor blades in the Reese's
And now,
Pieces.
yeah,
Ruin
now
it for
everyone's doing
everybody.
it just to fucking
Yeah, it's like watching Boba Fett. You watch one episode, then you gotta,
it's the domino effect.
Also, don't eat unwrapped candy. Weirdos.
yeah, fucking idiot kids. Kids are dumb.
I
I'm
can't wait
having a
till
kid soon, so
when I'm older, I want to be.
easy on that.
Damn, we were making some good points in that video. Hey guys, Aaron the Nerd Suit Monkey here. Before we end this video, I want to give a quick shout out to our Patreon supporters. What can I say about you guys that I haven't already said about myself? You are the most important part of the channel and the main reason we keep going strong. Like Bo says, you keep the lights on in the fridge, so the fridge is full. Or something like that. So, from everyone here at Nerd Soup, I'd like to thank you guys for your continued support. If you're interested in joining the ranks of our patron supporters, head over to patreon.com/nerdsoup and check out the rewards we offer to our patrons. We recently dropped some new stickers for you guys to check out, or you could choose a tier that will allow you to select a movie, show, or video game for us to review. We've got a full slate of fan-suggested reviews coming your way, and we're really excited about the chance to review some of those movies and shows. We've also got t-shirts, mugs, behind-the-scenes videos showing how we bring our videos to life. And once again, thank you to all our Patreon pledgers who have been supporting us throughout the years. Without you, we wouldn't be able to convert all your pledges into cryptocurrency, so thank you from my future self for making us rich.